Uiteindelik Vrydag, nog 'n week is verby. Steek die vure aan en oor die hele kontry. Boetie, sussie, almal saam, oupa en ouma ook. Los jou worries by die huis, want hierdie boerejol gaan kook. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die borstel vure brand, en die konsertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vandaan. Wat is 'n braai, sonder aardappelslaai, terwyl maar het maak, en die kinders stokbrood braai. Al pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina saam. Vanaand gaan ons tiekie draai, laat die stof so staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. En laat aan das ons opkyk, na die sterre en die maan. Dis dan wanneer oom Koos vir ons boekstories vertel. Kort voor lank is die kinders bang, wil niemand meer gaan slaap. Dan haal pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Goeienaand, baie welkom, lekker om hier te wees. Kom ons kry hierdie keer aan die gang. Dis lockdown. Ja, ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Waar die kindertjies baljaar, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. En waar die bosveld vure brand, op hierdie boerejol vanaand.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, trying to shut something off over here. Welcome back to the program. It's Friday, September 20th, 2024. United Rugby Championship season starts today. That's right, Leinster on the road at Edinburgh. Be covering that on Rugby Ascendant, assuming the software will work. Boy, this Streamlabs OBS is really cocking up lately. I have to restart it 2 and 3 times, and it takes forever to send an error message to Streamlabs. I'm going to have to contact them and see what's going on. Also, my Coca-Cola doesn't taste right today. Have I got the Rona? It tastes kind of off. Probably because I had something sweet already. Anyway, welcome back to the program. Always a pleasure. It's Friday. What is going on in Shawnee, Pretoria? What is happening there? South Africa's crazy. All right, let me say hello to everybody in the chat. We're going to get to the news, but let me show you a couple things first off out the gate. I want to share this with you. Last night in Washington, D.C., something I considered driving down to attend because I had the evening free. I almost went down there, but instead I watched that Netflix series, The Gentleman. Wow, what a wackadoodle crazy series. Guy Ritchie, that guy's a crazy, crazy producer. Anyway, I was going to go to this game. I'm glad I didn't go because I would have been cheated. A record-setting number of viewers, of fans, showed up in attendance at a WNBA game. 20,711 people last night. And the Verizon Center, whatever the heck is we're calling it now. They keep changing the name of the darn place. But 20,711, that is the highest number of fans ever in attendance at a regular season WNBA game. And why were they there? Well, because Caitlin Clark was there. And unfortunately, we were cheated. Caitlin Clark came out with gangbusters and racked up 8 points and 8 rebounds and 8 assists and 5 rebounds in short order, and then sat out the rest of the game, 3/4 of the game. They say she had 30 minutes play, but I don't believe that to be true because she missed 6 minutes in the first half, and she missed over half of the second half. Nonetheless, it was a very poor performance by the Indiana Fever, who led 20-2, squandered that lead, and were trailing by 18 points or 17 points themselves. They had a 17-point lead, or 18-point lead squandered, and a 17-point deficit, 35-point swing, while Clark was mostly out of the game. Unbelievable. Kelsey Mitchell appeared to get injured. She was gone. Aaliyah Boston was barely in the game. Lexi Hull was barely in the game. It was like watching a Sandlot game. Very disappointing to see that. I'm glad I didn't drive down to D.C. for what was a very disappointing game. And congratulations to the D.C. fans who won, but they're out of the playoffs. And the Indiana Fever finished their first season with Caitlin Clark on the team at 20 wins, 20 losses. They begin the playoffs on Sunday. And that's all they're focused on. It's incredible numbers, Charles, for the WNBA. It's something they've only reached a couple of times. The previous 2 times they got 20,000 were both games played by the Washington Mystics in that arena. They don't normally play there. They normally play at this little arena in southeast side of D.C. in a very dangerous neighborhood. I've gone to the game there. That place seats 4,200. It's like a high school arena. That's what it looks like. And they tend to sell it out, but 4,200 is a lot easier to sell it than 20,000. But this was a sellout last night. And it actually exceeds the capacity of the arena by about a couple hundred, I think. So well done. I don't know what's... You guys, there's nothing wrong with my sound. Let me listen to it. There's nothing wrong with my sound. Let me listen to it. There's nothing wrong with my sound. Let me listen to it. There's nothing wrong with my sound. Let me listen to it. There's nothing... Let's see if that's any better. Let's see if that's any better. I don't notice any difference whatsoever. Didn't notice any difference whatsoever. Y'all might need to check your settings. All right, let me say hello. God bless it. Before I say hello, I've got one more graphic I wanted to show you. My nose is itching. Who's talking about me? My nose is itching. Well, I can't be unplugging this microphone every time I do this. This is a bit much to ask. Anyway, so NATO. Here's NATO expansion. So you wonder why Russia feels a little bit cornered? Well, NATO was founded in 1949 to counter Soviet aggression in Eastern Europe as an Iron Curtain descended across Eastern Europe, Western nations. And let me show you how this worked. The initial members, of course, were the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Portugal, France, Italy, Norway, and Denmark. Shortly after that, Germany joined. Later, Spain joined. Later Germany and Turkey joined. Then Spain joined much later. And now it is comprised of those countries, plus Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, Albania, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Bulgaria. Gee, I wonder why the Russians feel cornered and trapped and surrounded by NATO. Maybe that's why. All right, those are the graphics I wanted to show you guys before we get started here. Welcome back to the program on a Friday. Hopefully it's a Lekka Friday for you. Maybe you're having a braai, although a lot of people complain about how cold it is in South Africa, all over the place. Quite lovely here. Very lovely temperatures here. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat. So we've got Val Cooper was in early. Thanks, Val. Dylan Combrick, Arc Precision. Charles Van Altzen says he's freezing in the rain. Okay, Pablo Charles here, Monterey Siebert's in from Cape Town. What's the weather like in Cape Town? Teresa, Debbie says, please hit the like button. Thank you so much, Pablo Charlie. But folks, look, I don't take, and there's Keith Alderson, I don't take any of you for granted. I really do appreciate you spend time with me, and I'm happy to spend time with you. Love the super chats. I mostly love the subscriptions as we continue to try to climb up to that 20,000 mark. It's a slow climb. We're getting there. We had a big surge when I was in South Africa this last time. We got over 3,000 subscribers in the month I was there, which was awesome, mostly because of my election coverage, I believe. But back since then, it's been a bit slower. So we get there, we get a few subscribers because of this video, a few subscribers because of that video, but it's an uphill climb. I've got to have a hot topic that gets me something. You know, the Roman Kabanek story was a hot topic, and I had some hate wanker accusing me of being, spreading propaganda for them because I covered the story. No, I'm covering a story that's timely and relevant. It's not timely and relevant now, so you don't see me doing a story on Roman Kabanek now. But let me just state this now. We're about 9 minutes in this broadcast, so it's an apropos moment for you. I must put a correction out there. The video that I produced yesterday included some incorrect information. Now, when I produced the video, I was in a rush doing other things, not an excuse, but I did research it, and I went to several sites. Several different locations gave me bad information. The mayor that preceded Cilliers Brink was mayor for just a matter of days, and I erroneously said that he was mayor going back throughout that period. Actually, and I knew better, I don't know how I missed this or how I made that mistake, but honest and credible people will admit when they made a mistake, and I made a mistake here. something I rarely do, but I did make a mistake, in that it was Randall Williams who was the mayor for most of that period when that debt was piled up. So if Action SA wants to lay the debt at the feet of the DA, they can do that. But they were part of that government, so it's also at their feet. But beyond that, blaming Celia's Brink for it is just ludicrous. And there's character assassination going on right now. I don't know what's going on with Herman Mashaba, but he's drawing a lot of attention to his party. As a consequence, now I'm doing videos on Action SA. Not a lot of people watching it, but it is a timely and newsworthy topic. Herman Mashaba's tweets are interesting, to say the least. They seem very personal and at times vicious, and I don't know what this is, but the newspapers are trying to heat the story up. And I saw a headline in News 24, which we'll talk about today, which gives the impression that Mayor Brink is also now striking back in these verbal assaults. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't really trust News 24 anymore after they recently fired a journalist because they didn't like his tweets. A bunch of cowards. All right, so Arctic is here. Dylan Kumbrick, I mentioned. Hester Kutza, Paulie, the brains behind the operation. Pierre Orban. What's going on? Tanya De Beer says, good evening from very cold in Pumalanga. Hey, Tanya. It's great to know we have viewers in Pumalanga. Supposed to go up to Petersburg, Polokwane, for the Vitkreuz ceremony once, but I was not able to make it. Dudu Tsane Zuma said Afrikaners are winners in a recent interview, and as a colored, I applaud him for saying that. Yeah, well, he also incited violence during an insurrection and ought to be imprisoned for his crimes, but hey, interesting full disclosure. Well, my goodness, what happened? My shelves just exploded with animals. There's a meerkat and a goat and another goat springbok and a couple teddy bears. What's going on back there, man? There's animals everywhere. Who did that? Nobody mentioned Easter eggs. Pilots and firefighters in-house. Hope that means quiet weekend. That's good. Clive Streak, welcome to you. Ants, how's it going, man? Okay, Ants said the sound was tinny as well. Okay. Was that a rather small can of cola? Yeah, it is a rather small can of cola, Val. And these are the ones that you get on the airlines, and the ones that they have in bars that they pop out the mixed drinks with when you have to use cans. Yes, the ones they give you in the airlines when they're cheap bastards. I resorted to these because I find myself not drinking a full 12-ounce, 330 milliliter can of Coca-Cola anymore. It's just not something I do. I did it for most of my life. So these are actually these are the right size. Also, that's just the amount of Vita Cola to mix with a Weizen to have a Schussbier. So you can get these in a discount warehouse club, just like a business. So I get those at BJ's. All right. Okay, Berkeley Jensen. So impressive numbers for WNBA. Communist terrorist ANC does not like being shown up. So Pretoria is being run so well it's bad for What's your thoughts on the Bucks squad for Saturday's game? I think they'll be fine, James. They just need to be very careful and not. Desmond Engelbrecht has subscribed. Desmond, thank you for that. Who else has subscribed here? I get some weird. Okay. I think they'll be fine, but they need to be careful and not look past the Pumas. The Pumas have got their dander up. They are ready. They're excited. They just had a scalping of the Wallabies, the historic scalping, the biggest defeat the team's ever gotten, and it was laid on them by an Argentine side. So we'll see what happens. But the Springboks should win this game easily, but this is the Springboks. They don't do anything easy. Just saw another Angel Reese post and sums up what I said already. Caitlin Clark is a WNBA player. Angel is another Instagram model or whatever they call her. Yeah, look, in college, I think Angel Reese was impressive. And look, if I say this, I'm going to be pillared, but Angel Reese had a very good, incredible first season, but she's not a complete all-around player. She works the inside in the paint, and that's what forwards do. If they're good at their job, forwards and centers, that's what they do. She's not all around. She doesn't spark her team, whereas Caitlin Clark is everywhere. Assists, rebounds. She's setting records in everything. She scored the most points ever by a point guard in WNBA history. The most ever by a point guard in her rookie season. She set the all-time assist record for any player in her rookie season. She set one. She's the first ever rookie to get a triple-double. And frankly, she should have had 3 triple-doubles, but they culled her playing time, and she was unselfish. And 2 more triple-doubles of games I watched she could easily have had. One she missed by 1 rebound, and another one she missed by 2 rebounds and and 1 assist, I think it was. Yeah. Anyway, Robert Franklin Moore is in from Port Elizabeth. Welcome to you. James, what's your thoughts on the Bucks? Okay, that was it. Hugo Kruger is on Roman. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Colonel Wyatt, Hugo, and Roman, 30 September. Clive, what are you talking about? What are you about? I'm not on with Hugo Kruger and Roman. On what channel? Where? And I haven't invited them to come to my program. Heresy, mixing Coke with a Weiss beer. No, Michael, it's not heresy. It's fantastic. It's called a Schuss beer, and I was first introduced to it in June of 1984 at the Canopy Club in Bad Kreuznach in Rheinland-Pfalz. Das war ja fabelhaft. Ich erinnere sehr gut zu dieser Zeit. Also war das Lied von Laura Branigan, Self-Control. Das war das beste Lied. Ja, und wir haben auch andere Lieder auf Deutsch. Ja, es war echt fabelhaft. Ja, das war das erste Mal. Und normalerweise am Freitag, am Samstagabend habe ich 4 oder 5 von dieser Schussbier getrunken. Ja, ich bin zu Fuß wieder nach Kaserne. Und das dauert mindestens 20 Minuten. Michael says, und ich bin Deutsch. Ja, das habe ich nicht gewusst. Arctic says Schussbier is cock. Well, you got to spell it correctly. Jonathan says, I always liked the three-point specialist in basketball. Dan Marley. Yeah, Dan Marley was always fun to watch. Yeah, only a pleasure to be working, says Paulie. So, Michael, ich habe ja keine Ahnung, dass Sie Deutsch sind. Das ist ja eine große Überraschung für mich. Und ich begrüße, können wir uns duzen? Ich begrüße dich. Ja. Servus. Welcome to the program. Arbite says there was another Vitkreuz event held last week. A guy left from Pretoria to Polokwane on foot, raising awareness on farm murders. I didn't know about that, Arbite. Didn't get much attention. I didn't hear from Yanni Maya. He hasn't mentioned it. Spelling doesn't matter when it's sacrilege. Listen, Arctic, get busy. Get the Druvos ready. Ja, prima. Wir duzen uns. Yeah. Okay, so Michael, welcome. Excuse me. This chest thing is not going. I'm not sick or anything, but I just got built up in there. Just can't. Do I have some disease? Who knows? Has been stuck there for a couple days. Okay, folks, let's get to the news. We did promise that William van der Walt was about. Boy, it's been a long time since I've seen William van der Walt, because I remember I used to give him a hard time because it shouldn't be Willem, not William. Good to see you there. Michael says, sorry, a beer purist mixing Coke with a capital offense. Well, Germans mix Coke with wine. That's a capital offense. Good Lord. That's disgusting. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I do remember you, William van der Walt. It's been donkey years. Where have you been? Are you okay? When people disappear, number one, I worry, did I say something to offend them? If I did, not much I can do about it. Or did something happen to them? I mean, especially if they're South African. It's South Africa. It can be carjacked, home invasion, robbed, murdered, raped. Who knows what happens? And then people just pass away, unfortunately. We've lost viewers, so that's even worse. Yes, we agree on that, Michael. I've seen Germans do it. Oh, Mensch, Meier, das ist ja unglaublich. Oh, schrecklich. Wein mit Cola. Tja, oh, ja, ist kaum zu glauben. Verrückte Leute, na? Nicht wahr? Yep, okay. Druvos for lunch. Ooh, Arctic, it's on. Like Donkey Kong. That's it. It's war with Arctic, folks. It's war with Arctic. Well, folks, is it going to be on like Donkey Kong in South Africa? Guess what's going on? Eskom wants another 36% tariff hike in electricity. These people are bat crap crazy. How are they profitable when the rates were like, 10% of what they currently are without government subsidies 30 years ago? How is that possible? How is Eskom rated the best utility in the world in the year 2000, yet today is an absolute disaster and joke, and they continue to raise their prices? Something's wrong. Now, we'll have to confess and admit that Joe Biden's destruction of the global security environment and the energy markets and his inept foreign policy, as well as domestic policy, stealing money from the credit sector that's not available to anyone else, have all driven the prices of everything up to double or more of what they should be in the past 3 years. So I get that. But even so, cut that in half, and what South Africans are paying for electricity today is astronomically higher than what it was 30 years ago when Eskom was profitable, and even 25 years ago was profitable. So what's going on? You have air superiority. Good luck in the transit. Hey, I've got a drone, man. I'll take you out. Politicians promise protest we last saw in 1976 over the electricity tariff hikes. My goodness. Politicians across the board roundly condemned the proposed 36% electricity tariff increase in Parliament yesterday. But the Democratic Alliance found itself in hot water as a result of their own steep tariffs in the city of Cape Town. Well, that's very targeted commentary there. It's apparent that the board of Eskom don't know that 45% of South Africans live on SASSA grants and the board of nurses simply don't care, said National Color Congress leader Fidel Adams, who promised the kind of protests we last saw in 1976 if the increases go through. Well, Fidel Adams, I've met him. I've sat in a conference with Fidel Adams in Cape Town, right across from the burnt and destroyed Parliament building in a hotel. Interesting fellow, but he had some horrible things to say when he was at the swearing in of the president. That was kind of disappointing. I'd like to interview Fidel Adams. I had a contact for him, but his numbers seem to change all the time. So what I have to say about Fidel Adams is that he doesn't have the support of many people at all. The National Colored Congress is a very small party, and if he can galvanize people the way that the ANC did during 1976 and 1985 specifically, I'd be shocked. That said, people are right to be upset about these electricity prices. 30s. Oh, is that what my YouTube says for this video? Hang on a second. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. My video says September 20th, 20 September 2024. What are you talking about? 30 September. Are you talking about the rugby? Are you talking about the rugby? You got to be specific there, Clive. Thank you for trying to help, but I'm looking. It says Eskom 36% increase. Malema mocks Gordhan. Israel, Brazil, X. Chris Wyatt reports 20 September 2024. What are you talking about, man? Are you talking about the rugby? I can't change that if that's the case now. Well, I can change it here maybe. Let me see. I mean, is that what you're talking about? Because I really don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. You didn't give me enough information here. Sorry, I'll get back to things, but now I'm distracted by this. Let me switch accounts. Hello, come on, stupid frickin' thing. Switch account to Rugby. Rugby Senate, let's see. Okay, but this doesn't tell me what's upcoming. That's kind of annoying. It only shows me what I've already done, I think. Yeah, it won't show me what's upcoming, so I can't do that in the app. I'm screwed. So you need to help me out with that because I'm not following what you're saying. Anyway, all right. William says he was in town the other day and saw renovations. Well, yeah, but it's been what, 2-3 years since that happened? Load shedding still paid. Yeah, well, you have load shedding now. Eskom is lying. This nonsense about Eskom and the government gaslighting you, saying there's no load shedding. Load reduction is load shedding. People are getting 4 hours of no electricity today. That is load shedding. It's all lies. We're being lied to by the media. We're being lied to by the government. It's all lies. That's right. There is load reduction, which is load shedding. That's what it is. It's all lies. Ja, es ist ja unglaublich, dass diese Politiker sind eigentlich echte Lügner und Betrüger. Yeah, they are nothing but thieves and liars. Unbelievable. Yep. Unbelievable. It's people have load shedding. So stop the nonsense. 120 days with no load shedding, because that's BS. It's nonsense. Clive, please tell me what you're talking about. The date. Don't go quiet on me, because now you got me puzzled. And I can't. Well, now look at this. I'm distracting myself again. YouTube. Let's go to @RugbySenate. Come on. @RugbySenate, because I can't get in the account while I'm logged into this one. So @RugbySenate. That says 20 September. Dude, what are you talking about 30 September? I don't get it. It actually shows I do Rugby Senate. It actually puts my stuff up first. That doesn't usually happen. I must be in the good graces of YouTube for the moment. Wow. Edinburgh versus Leinster, 20 September. So I don't get where's the 30 September stuff coming into play? That's crazy. I don't understand it. Anyway, back to what's going on. Vander Kruger says, okay, so on positive note, Rugby Championship winners tomorrow night. Tomorrow, Springboks win and the All Blacks win. Yep. Eskom tariff hike is unjustifiable, says Ravani Fribus. Okay. We have just had a price increase. Yes, Mira, I know. 36%. And you just had a previous one. Yep. Rich people get solar, the rest must now pay for all the illegal connections. Yep, correct. Well, not always rich people. I got solar, and I'm not rich, but let's see how my solar's doing. It's kind of cloudy outside today. Let me take a peek here at my solar production. I'm getting back this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there it is. I've been reducing the number of apps on my phone because it was starting to get cumbersome. Just 7.39 kilowatt hours of production today, getting 4.32, which is about 60% of what my capacity is. Yesterday had a decent day at 36 hours, but for the month, 672 kilowatt hours. And I'm approaching very quickly here in about 3 weeks. It'll be 1 year since the solar panels were turned on. And at that point, if it doesn't match what they said I was going to get, then I'm going to get very angry. But it's close at 8.48 megawatts of electricity generated in the past year. So commies think they're magicians. It's not load shedding. I've changed the definition of the word, and that changes reality. Yep. Yes, they're going to increase price again. Yep. Need to up their efficiency for a start. Okay. Right. No justification. Yep. All right, let's get back to the news, folks. So out of the gate, South Africans are upset, rightly so. The Democratic Alliance's Kevin Mileham, who sponsored the National Assembly debate, described the national electricity pricing policy as decades out of date and nurses' methodologies as inadequate. He told Parliament that electricity prices in South Africa have risen 945% over the past 17 years. And the country is now in the top 50% of countries with the most expensive electricity. Yep. I've already reported on that. That's exactly right. To put this in perspective, an average household using 350 kilowatt hours in 2007 would have paid 69 Rand. Today they're paying 724 Rand. Wow. Even if you take Joe Biden's inflation of 100% and cut that in half, that's still 350. It's just crazy. So William says, what do you think long-term thinking on part of ANC regarding GNU? Curious to know. Well, as I said all along, the GNU, you'll notice, okay, let's talk about that before we get to the news. I think it's a fair question. So what can we do? Well, Muriel, not a whole lot you can do other than cut your electricity use, find more efficient things, turn devices off, and ride it out. That's about all you can do if you can't afford an alternative source of energy like your own solar panels, which is probably the most common things people do. If you live in a rural area, you can install a windmill, which will generate power and charge batteries. Pamwe Chete. What's with Pamwe Chete? Oh, it's fantastic. The Zulu Scouts. Right. So William's question, long-term for the government and national union, what is the ANC's plan here? What are they up to? Well, I've said this from the time this thing was formed. The ANC will go into a coalition, which they've done. They will hand their coalition partners minor ministries and ministries that need to be fixed, and then they'll take the credit for it. They will not relinquish the security cluster so they can retain power. The ANC's end goal here is to let the DA clean up home affairs, education, and agriculture. And when they clean it up and it's functioning, the ANC will take credit. We brought you the government national unity. Vote us in. I'm serious. That's what their plan is. They're not very bright. They think that'll work. Again, Clive is putting up a date there, which I don't understand. Eskom has monopoly, so it's their own fault. They can go cry to mama. Hezbollah women been warned of Earl Weideman. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be using devices like pagers, or mobile phones, or walkie-talkies, or I suppose vibrators. Southern taxpayers can't afford it all. No, they can't. Well, we can't afford it here. My electric bill, which used to average $60 to $90 at the highest point, was approaching $300 a month. It's getting ripped off big time. So I went in for the scheme that the state created, and I paid nothing, and the solar was installed. All I do is pay off their loan. It's not my loan, so it doesn't affect my credit history, good or bad. I pay it off every month. Yeah, 36% is too much. Yep. But the DA's found itself in the center of a firestorm over the controversial issue of electricity prices implemented by Cape Town. In 2022-23, they increased it 9%, and then again, but NERSA recommended 7%. But this is why government shouldn't be in the delivery of electricity. The generation and delivery of electricity should be in the private sector. Simple as that. No question about it. This is ridiculous, to say the very least. Anyway, that's what's going on with electricity. So Action SA's decision to exit the Shwane coalition shows Mashaba's political incompetence, Celia Brink says. Well, really? Did he say that? Well, here's a News 24 article certainly trying to stoke the fires. It says he's accused Herman Mashaba of political backstabbing and incompetence. Action SA decided to exit the coalition and reached out to the ANC. If Action SA votes with the ANC and EFF, then the opposition will have the numbers to remove Brink as mayor. After removing the supposed proverbial knife from his back, the mayor of Shwane said Action SA leader Herman Mashaba was a backstabber, political incompetent, and provoking political instability. Well, that means that coalition has no chance of being reformed. Brink's comments follow Action SA's exit from the multi-party coalition. Speaking to the media on Thursday, Brink said the DA went to the ANC to try to prevent this possible removal only after Action SA broke the Shwane coalition agreement and reached out to the ANC. Yeah, because Herman Mashaba has been attacking Brink for saying, you went to the ANC. True, but Action SA had already gone to the ANC to try to form a government. And so Brink is trying to keep the government going by going to the ANC if there's a concession they can make. So, wow, it's crazy. The DA, of course, has been left in a precarious position in the metros across Gauteng, Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and, of course, in Shwane, because the Action SA at the local level has agreed to work with the ANC. So they really have put a knife in the back of the DA. And what's it all about? Are they not getting enough at the trough? I mean, they talk about governance. This isn't about governance. This is ridiculous. More than 100,000 South Africans, apparently. That's not the one I want. Here's the one I want. There we go. More than 100,000 South Africans say no to proposed electricity hike. Ordinary people must choose between having electricity or putting food on the table. That's what Fidel Adams had said. Yep. More than 100,000 people signed a petition against Eskom's proposed 36% electricity increase submitted to the National Energy Regulator. Yep. So the DA is the one behind this. There it is. There's their petition right there, the DA. 101,000 supporters. If you want that, they're calling it a power grab. It's not a power grab. That's a silly thing to say, but I get what they're trying to get at. If you want to go to that petition and sign it, here is the link. Feel free to do that. It really doesn't mean a whole lot. It's not scientific. It's just something the DA did. But we'll pin that at the top anyway for people who are upset about it. William says, it would appear the actions here are doing this purely out of spite. Clearly, those who suffer most as a result of this calamity are Praetorians. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, William. That's why I'm calling it a question. And I have already recorded my next Action SA video related to Herman Mashaba tweet. I'll need to edit it. I don't know if I'll be able to get it done between this and the rugby, but I'll try so it gets out this evening in South Africa. But I've already recorded my next video just before this. So we'll get to it. The issue is the quality of people. You can fire the incompetent government workers, but you will continue to be incompetent in the private sector. Some parties are trying to govern whilst others are still trying to eat. Citizens are laughed at. If the DA would control the Ministry of Minerals and Finance, you would see an unbearable amount of unlawful activities being revealed. Oh, no doubt about it. Sam Stan is back. Welcome to you. Chris Sten. Good evening, Chris. Good to see you. Freelance Kate Ravani Fribus. The DA will probably capitulate on the issue anyway, just like the Pala Pala. Yep. Just like Bella. Just like the National Health Insurance Initiative. Yep. Roll over and take it up the backside. Put your hands on the table. That didn't sound very good. Cabello Quacha says, do you wish the DA can govern South Africa, Chris? No, I don't wish the DA can govern South Africa. I also don't wish that they can't govern South Africa. I wish that South Africans have honest, competent, non-racist leaders who ensure that government is small, efficient, effective, and delivers for South Africans. That's what I wish. Whoever is around to do that, there you go. But the problem is the DA isn't that. They are some of that, as I have complimented the DA's Leon Schreiber. He's being attacked now endlessly by leftists, but I've defended Leon Schreiber and his performance he's doing there. I've also defended what's the other one there? I can't remember his name. But then also, I've not had anything bad to say about Siviwe Garuba, other than she may be jockeying to replace John Steenhuisen, and I got criticized for that. It's an analysis. If you don't agree with the analysis, then say you don't agree with it, but don't be a jerk off. Yep. So this concern revealed for time and again, it is factual the DA is the best political party in South Africa. Well, Pablo Charlie, your statement is not valid. How did she prove factually that they're the best party? They lied. Over and over again. They lied. They're cowards, political cowards. We saw what happened when the posters were published during the election campaign in KZN, and the DA took them down. The DA promised to hold a referendum in the Western Cape for Cape secession. I don't really care about that much, but they never did it. They lied. Alan Winde does whatever he wants. He acts like a fascist totalitarian dictator in public. I don't know what he actually does in chamber. So look, I'm not attacking the DA, but what do you mean factually they're the best? How are they factually the best? You got to back that up. I don't believe there is a best party. The problem we have is parties are full of scumbags. The Republicans are full of Republicans in name only. They're not actual conservatives. They're actual people who believe in liberty and freedom. I mean, we have Republicans who are siding with Democrats to prevent the government from continuing operation. We have Republicans who are siding with the Democrats to allow foreign nationals to vote in our elections. It's absolutely insane. So winter is back. South Africa's freezing in Bloemfontein. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I know. As people were saying, it's back. They just said yes to the whack jobs would shut up. A full 1,000 people want Cape exit. Well, they shouldn't have said yes, Arctic. They shouldn't have said yes. They've also endlessly attacked the Freedom Front Plus and blamed the Freedom Front Plus for breaking coalitions. And that's unclear whether the DA or the Freedom Front Plus is responsible. The supposed corruption that took place in Mossel Bay. Hey, Ricky Tan just subscribed. Thank you. Ricky Tan, that's the name of a character in one of the Mel Gibson Lethal Weapons movies. Or no, it's not. It's not that one. It's the Jackie Chan movies, you know. Chris, what's his name? Chris. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Ricky Tan. Ricky Tan was the guy from Hong Kong. That's right. Hey, Ricky Tan, welcome for being here. Yeah. So look, this is not an attack on the DA, just statement of fact. DA isn't the party that can govern South on their own. Unfortunately, we have spineless politicians. Yep. Okay, you used the referendum thing as an argument. Well, the people calling for it said themselves the DA is by far the best in South Africa on record. Yes, I don't dispute that, Pablo. They have said it. And I have also said the DA has been the best party by far. But it's not factual. It's an opinion. It's an opinion. Facts aren't supported of the argument. So I think you're confusing things. People are hearing what they want to hear. I'm not attacking the DA. I'm not supporting the DA. I'm also not denying they are I agree that they are the best solution in most places. But their behavior is not democratic. It's not consistent. And it's very thin-skinned. They are very thin-skinned, unbelievably thin-skinned. Wow. So what the DA did in the Western Cape is they said whatever they had to get elected. They did the same thing the ANC does. Don't do that. Be honest with voters. Tell them the truth. The GNU is only giving the ANC the majority back. Correct. North Carolina Kent is in deep trouble. He called himself. Yeah, I saw that, Shadow. See, we're going to talk about that. It's an objective fact, and look at me. I'm the one calling the Republican Alliance. I'm not biased. Okay. I'm not going to argue with Bobby Cart, Charlie. You're going to start complaining. I'm not answering your comments. It's not objective fact. It's an opinion. All right. So, yeah, the DA is spineless. That's for sure. But, folks, what's the way forward? Well, Cabela, the way forward is what you have right now. You have to hope for the very best. And you have to educate voters. Those parties which are lazy, the DA is very lazy, all of them are lazy, don't engage with the voters until it's election time. 9 days before election, whoa, election, poster signs, hey, go vote for us. We're not the ANC. The ANC is evil. Well, that's not how you do an election. You do an election every single day. You do performance. You get engaged. You do what I saw from Ronaldo Jose when I was in Port Elizabeth on multiple occasions. The guy's off duty. He's off work. And he's taking phone calls from constituents. And he's going out and fixing things. He's no longer available. He can't go to dinner here because now he's got to go fix something because somebody's water is broken. Well, that's not the job of a political office, but it is in South Africa, and he did it. That's what you have to do. And that's why in his ward he got 90% of the vote. 90% of the vote. Despite the fact he had a very reputable and decent person running against him that last election. Michael Clement, a very good human being with a great story, a great backstory. But Ronaldo and the DA were very popular because of their performance. People go, it's because they're all white. No, white people don't just vote for the DA, they vote for others. Anyway, you have to get out and do it every day, every single day. And you have to recruit people every day if you want to be a political party. That's what you have to do. I have to do the same thing. I have to recruit people to be subscribers on my channel every day. And I make an effort almost every single day to get people to come here. Somebody just delete their message. Yep. In Parliament, it's a war of words. Yep. Best radio prank. John Burks with Sol Curzon inviting somebody to use Sun City for the grand opening. No idea what you're talking about. Yep. What did William say? The DA are proficient administrators. Ideologically, they're somewhat lacking, to put them out. That's exactly right. They're by and large honest, effective bureaucrats. That's what the DA are. That's what they are. That's what they are. Yep. All right, so continuing. All right, so Julius Malema mocks the deceased former Liberation Credential era Pravin Gordhan, multiple ministry positions, and Julius Malema locks him. This cad, I'll just call him a cad. Julius Malema, this cad, has no respect, no class whatsoever. The classless Julius Malema, seeking attention like a little sad boy. After being vocal about his opinions on Pravin Gordhan following his death, EFF leader Julius Malema took to social media to further express his discontent over the funeral ceremony. The ceremony was held at the Durban ICC, International Convention Center in KZN, followed by private cremation. Gordhan died on September 13th after several months of illness at the age of 75. Malema posted a clip of the late ANC stalwart Winnie Mandela funeral, which was held at Orlando in Gauteng in 2018. This is the image of a hero's funeral, saluting the one who lived and was laid to rest by the people, not Mokete wa Dikatsa, not a ceremony of cats. I really have no idea what exactly he's going at, but I suspect it's a racist, in the least against Indians. In other posts, he showed a small tent saying the shelter would have saved the day, just short of saying the funeral would have been better had there been than it was at the vast Durban ICC. Julius Malema is a classless cad. He has no decorum whatsoever, and he exposed himself all the time. Whether you like Pravin Gordhan or not, posting this stuff on social media, stating it publicly, is inappropriate when the man has passed away. It's ridiculous. And it's not exactly coming from someone who has any credibility whatsoever. Julius Malema, credibility? Spare me. Well, the accused in the former Democratic Alliance member of the mayoral committee, Buie and Stanfield case, the 1 billion rand tenders, this person was murdered 2 days after bail release. And accused in the case in which Cape Town's Democratic Alliance former mayoral committee member, Malusi Buie, faces charges about unlawfully awarding contracts worth 1 billion rand, in which suspected 28's gang boss Ralph Stanfield was allegedly involved, has been murdered. 2 days after being granted bail and released from custody, one of the accused in the tender was murdered. Abdul Kader Davids was shot in Beacon Valley, Mitchell's Plains. Possibly in the head he was shot. His body was sprawled on the pavement. He was one of Buie's 9 co-accused in the case, and now he's been executed. Ooh, man, oh man. Well, no justice there. No justice there. Was Pravin Gordhan honest and upright? I honestly don't know much about him. He was a communist. He was an effective administrator on occasion, but he was a terrible minister for the state-owned entities. So, but it's gratuitous what he's doing. Malema's, it's just nonsense. There's no need for it. No need for it. At a funeral and in public. He's a public figure. If my viewers want to say bad things about Pravin Gordhan, you're welcome to say it. Just don't be racist. You're welcome to say whatever you want about him. You can. You're not a public figure. You're not doing this in the media to tarnish his reputation by a person who deserves no respect, no airtime, no consideration whatsoever, and quite frankly, ought to be in prison for his alleged crimes. If only the South African judicial system wasn't corrupt and bought and paid for. Julius Malema would have been in prison years ago for criminal injury, for using the late racist language. Peter du Toit, Steenhuisen must avoid combating African nationalism with Afrikaner nationalism. Well, folks, this is an op-ed by Peter du Toit, the frequent author, and the most recent one, The Super Caters by Peter du Toit. He also did the Stellenbosch Mafia. Last Sunday, Rapport and City Press reported on the efforts of Solidar's Dirk Herman and Afri Forum's Kali Kriel to stop President Ramaphosa from signing the contentious Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill. And in this, it goes on, and it's a very factual, it's a very well-written article, and maybe that's a problem with intelligent, thoughtful, intelligent, analytical people who have agendas. I think that Peter du Toit has an agenda here, and his agenda here is to slander Afri Forum and Solidarity. The article is very good, but its description of AfriForum, basically calling AfriForum fearmongers and Solidarity fearmongers, is dishonest and reprehensible. But it's a good article. It's a shame he taints it with that sort of bigotry. And so I'm going to give you the link to it. You can read it for yourself. And interesting that he writes this. So, right. In a normal IQ South Africa, the DA would be like a social democratic party. Yeah, they'd be like social democrats. That's what they are. Charles says the DA spoke about being upright and honest and keep the ANC honest, but now they're just whipping boys ANC. Yeah, exactly. The Bella Bill, Ramon Kabanek hire, the tarnishing and dismissal of one of their most loyal members, Ronaldo Chuz all just shows they're just cowards and lackeys, which is what I said would be the case. See, the DA thinks that they'll be able to stay in government. They got jobs for John. They got jobs for Saviwe. They got jobs for Leon. Yay, 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 got jobs. Dion McPherson, yay, got jobs. And they're in power now, so they can say they're doing things. But the DA will not get credit for what they're doing fixing these things. Ultimately, it will be the ANC. What I see happening at this stage is the DA disappearing and becoming part of the ANC at some point. They'll say, well, look, we worked in government with them. They're actually good people. It's gone pretty well. They're just, the bad elements are all dying off. They're liberation era people, and it's a good party. And we're going to merge with it, just like the New National Party did. You wait and see. What's happening with Rahman? I don't know, Moonchild. I haven't been in touch with Rahman in about 2 weeks. Last I heard, I expected he would probably, he's smart. He won't leave. He won't resign. He'll make them fire him because then he can go to the tribunal and get his contract, get all of his money. He signed a 5-year contract, I believe, with the government. So he works for the government, and he was vetted by the government, and now a politician's demanding that or asking him to resign from a job that he's not failed to perform in. Therefore, he's entitled to compensation because it's breach of contract by the government. So I don't know what's going on with Rahman. I'll reach out to him at some point, but I was letting that calm down. See, that's the whole thing with the guy attacking me a couple of days. Oh, why? You can't trust him. He's dishonest. Look at me, just a propagandist for these races. That's what the guy called me, a propagandist for the races, because I did 9 stories on Rahman and Ronaldo over the course of a month, because the media ran dozens of stories and I was exposing their fraud. Doesn't make me a propagandist for them. It was newsworthy and it was apropos, and so I covered it. It isn't at the moment, and that's why I haven't really gone into it. But it's a fair question to ask because I do know Rahman and I could reach out to him, but I haven't done that. Stellenbosch Mafia, of which one member is Johan Rupert, the man who funds the EFF. Well, Rouhani, I don't know that to be the case. It would be interesting to have the proof of that. A lot of people claim that, but it would be very interesting to actually see the proof of it. If they fire him, it will be an automatic unfair dismissal, as he will be entitled to 2 years' worth of salary. Well, he's got a 5-year contract, Michael, so I don't know if he's entitled to 2 or 5 years. But yeah, exactly. He shouldn't resign. He should be fired. Make them fire him. But just lay low. New shit will be in the paper soon. Exactly. That's what I said. And I thought that's what the DA might be doing with Ronaldo. New crap in the papers. Just chill out. Wait for it to calm down. There is a gap in the political spectrum to accommodate them. There definitely is a gap in the political spectrum. Would it be ironic if Rahman and Khosi start a new party? Well, I suggested that Ronaldo start a new party. Why not? He's got a lot of support in the Eastern Cape, particularly in Port Elizabeth. Why not? Why not? But he doesn't want to, it doesn't sound like he wants to do politics right now. 2 years in accordance with labor law. Okay, Charles, I don't know what the law is, but 2 years. Okay, there you go. So that's a little bit of money. So if he's making $1.4 million, that means they'll owe him about $2.8 million. I don't know what his actual salary was. I just know what the media claimed it was. Yep. Chris says they'll have to pay his term plus 3 months. Well, that's what I thought. I don't know what the law is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. But I do know that he's a wrongful termination, so he's got something real. Well, South Africa's biggest emitters of carbon dioxide are Eskom and Sasol, of course. So they want to team up to use natural gas to cut emissions. But the problem is South Africa's natural gas supply is drying up. And why it's drying up? Because they haven't had any new discoveries or exploration for the past 3 decades. Why? Because the criminal communist ANC is running the country, and they're a bunch of idiots. Gwede Mantashe is calling for exploration, but we have white and colored, privileged little whiny bastards showing up on the coast of the Eastern Cape. Oh, no seismic testing! No seismic testing! In the Karoo. Don't touch our Karoo. Don't touch our Karoo. Hands off. Folks, where do you think energy comes from? The sun? Well, it does during the daytime. Give it a break. Anyway, they're really in trouble here because South Africa's natural gas supply is falling off a cliff. Yep. They're considering gas supply contracts with Gutter. So they want to buy gas from Gutter rather than frack in the Karoo or drill off the south coast of South Africa. How stupid is that? Well, here's a graph that will show you just how bad things are. Liquefied natural gas will be required in the short to medium term to sustain and grow the current gas industry. Well, there is production from 2021 projected through 2027. The dark blue. The dotted line is the need so that they can switch from coal-fired power plants to natural gas plants, plus they need for other things for Sasol. And the availability drops off the chart to where there's nothing. However, there are potential supplies in the Karoo and off the coast that are not being tapped, and it's greater in production than what is currently going on. And it would take about 6 years for that production to peak. And look at this. We're not doing it. Why are we not doing it? because of environmentalists. But let's just see what happens to DA's next leadership Congress. Yeah, I think that John Steenhuisen will be done, whether he decides to step aside or he's going to be challenged, I think, in the next one. Who is the majority in DA? Is it English speaker or Afrikaner speaking? Because it seems the past is still on them. All right. Well, first off, Cabello, let me unpack that. What do you mean the past is still on them? I mean someone's attributing. This is not attacking Cabello. I'm asking a question. Do you mean that the media or political opponents put the past on them? Because the problem with this is that this is all lies. First off, I've covered this extensively during the elections. The Democratic Alliance has nothing to do with apartheid. The Democratic Alliance comes from the Democratic Party in South Africa. It's liberal tradition. Helen Suzman, the lone voice against apartheid in Parliament for years, and the Progressive Federal Congress came after that, the one that Ethel Trollope was in, the Progressive Federal Party. These are the antecedent roots of the DA, not apartheid. They were opponents of apartheid. And you look at people in the DA, they actually have genuine liberation. Julius Malema has no liberation credentials whatsoever. He's just a whiny little pissant. He has no liberation credentials. Helen Zille has liberation credentials. Helen Zille is the investigative journalist who put her life and her family's life at risk when she exposed how the security forces murdered Steve Biko. We know what happened to Steve Biko because of Helen Zille. She's a genuine liberation credential person. And people forget this. And they dismiss it and they tarnish and they call her names. So that's why I asked the question, Cabello. What you mean by that? So look, I'm not defending the DA. I just like the facts, and I like the truth. The DA has nothing to do with apartheid. Now, there was a brief period in which the New National Party, some of those people came over and joined the Democratic Alliance, but that doesn't make it the New National Party. The New National Party actually merged with the ANC. The ANC's legacy is apartheid. Its antecedent roots are the African Native National Congress, back in 1912. Sol Plaatje and others who founded it. That's its roots, but its roots also include the apartheid regime. Why? Because they merged with the National Party. They absorbed it under Martinus Skalkvik. Was it Skalkvik? He became the tourism minister. The ANC is part and parcel to the apartheid era. So that history is on them, not on the DA. That's comical. That's why I asked the question, Cabello, what you're getting at. Now, as far as language, the majority of DA speakers are most likely Afrikaans speakers because the numbers have adjusted a bit there. Whoever said what their numbers were, but the numbers adjusted. It used to be a majority colored party, but now it's I think it's a plurality colored party, and then white Afrikaners are a portion too. So between the colors who speak Afrikaans and those who speak Afrikaans that are white, those make a majority of Afrikaans speakers in the DA. That is correct. Sol Plaatje in 1910. Yeah, but I think it was formed in 1912. I would hope you got a settlement. Okay, MP is the ANC. Exactly, Ravani. The DA are descendants of the Progressive Federal Party. Yeah, that's what I just said, PFP. And the Democratic Party, Helen Suzman. DA was formed after apartheid by anti-apartheid activists. Correct, Ravani. That's what I said. Kortbrook, for goodness sake. Malema said that Lady Pandora is implicated with EBS. Well, that would be interesting. I'd love to see that. But nobody's getting punished for it, so it wouldn't matter. Charles says, I would hope he got your settlement. Okay, sorry, I already read that. Politicians need the small folks vote, but they're ultimately beholden to their corporate backers. That's why Bernie Sanders is better off than Kamala. Yeah, okay, so Cabello gets in. He says, all I'm saying is when you say ANC is a combination of different tribes, that makes the ANC. When did I say the ANC is a combination of different tribes? I don't recall saying that. I don't understand. Or are you just saying when one says that? Please be specific, Cabello, because I'm not following you. The ANC was overwhelmingly a party dominated by Xhosa speakers during its history in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and into the early teens. That changed when Jacob Zuma came in, and it was a party that was much more diverse from a tribal or ethnic-based standpoint. And that's why the IFP took a big hit when Jacob Zuma became president, because a lot of IFP voters and Inkatha Freedom Party voters who vote based on ethnicity followed Jacob Zuma and voted ANC and arrested their decline briefly. Yeah. ANC is easily as evil, morally reprehensible national party. Well, William, you won't get any disagreement from me. I have endlessly, repeatedly made that claim. There is almost no difference between the African National Congress and the National Party. Both of these political parties crave complete totalitarian control. And look, the National Party's excuse was, the Svat Geva, the Hui Geva, Yeah, I get it. I understand why. That's an excuse. That was nonetheless still a party that was inclined towards authoritarianism, regardless. Even if those threats weren't there, authoritarianism was the order of the day, especially when apartheid was implied. Apartheid was an authoritarian approach. Whether it was right or wrong is a whole different moral question. But it was an authoritarian approach dictating that people develop separately. Well, maybe some people don't want to develop separately. Maybe some people want to develop in a cosmopolitan environment, but they weren't allowed to. So that's an authoritarian approach. The ANC is the same way. The same way. You will have your children learning English, and anything you decide at the local level, we will decide because we know better, because we're communists at the polar bear, and you'll do what we tell you to do. That's what Bella's all about. Yeah, so you can't speak Venda in your schools. You can't be taught in Tswana. No, Tswana. Hey, Kim Tswana. Nope, too bad. Now you speak English. So just cultural genocide. Yeah, so they're no different there. No different. They both love state-owned enterprises. Now, the National Party makes excuse, well, we had to deal with sanctions and we were international pariahs, and that's why Sasol had to make petroleum. That's why we had to buy helicopters from Israel. That's why we had to do deals with Iran. That's why we have Sasol, and we have all these government entities that are in control of everything. Well, that's an excuse. Eskom was a state-owned entity before apartheid, before sanctions. And the National Party inherited it, and they liked it. They kept it going. State-owned enterprises are socialism, communism, and they interfere with the free market, and they drive up cost, and they poorly deliver, time and again, regardless of where you are. So both the ANC and, by the way, the DA loves state-owned enterprises too. Oh, they just think they can run them better. Oh, yeah, we love them. Yeah, well, we don't want to get rid of Eskom. We don't want to get rid of Sasol. We don't want to get rid of Denel. We'll keep those things around. We could just do it better. No. They should be privatized, sold off. If they're not competitive, they're liquidated, and something replaces them. Why would something replace them? Because there's a need. People need electricity. Someone will deliver it. Someone can do it at a profit. Someone who's honest in the private sector. Anyway, and then minimal state regulation, which is necessary, and you got it going. So the difference between the two of them? Not a lot. Not a lot. Both of them have thin skins. The National Party and the ANC, thin skins. When you criticize them, they come after you. They don't like free speech. They censor you. They shut you down. There's no bannings under the ANC, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised to see it one day. It's the same thing. There's no difference. No difference between the two of them. I've said this over and over again. Both of them love patronage. The whole parties existed on patronage. The key difference with the African National Congress and the National Party is that the National Party's patronage hired people who were competent. But the ANC hires twits and boobs who are incompetent. So incompetent. So that's a major difference right there, is incompetence and theft. There was theft, there was corruption during the National Party era, but there was rule of law, and those people were prosecuted when they were discovered. We have none of that now. There's no rule of law in South Africa. People get away with theft all the time. Every day the papers are full of more theft. We just talked about this Buie thing in 1 billion rand. Can you imagine if the city of Cape Town had an additional billion rand right now, how many houses they could build? Of course, that's also something they shouldn't be doing. But how many schools they could refurbish, how many streets they could electrify, all things the private sector should be doing. The only thing they should be doing is infrastructure for roads and things like that. But all that money, 1 billion rand. Think about that, folks. 1 billion rand. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. Incompetency and nepotism. Yep. The difference is the National Party favored overwhelmingly Afrikaans-speaking South Africans, white Afrikaners, and the ANC favors their cadres, who are mostly black. So, Cabello, did I answer your question? Let me see. I hear you always checking, okay? How must I know? I don't know the facts of your case. I have told you what the fact says. Like I said, Chris, your situation is surprised that it had advanced further than what Ramon's case. Okay, well, guys, let's not argue those cases. Williams talking to Cabela says, if you haven't, you should read People's War. Yeah, People's War by Anthea Jeffrey. Yep, there you go. ANC destroyed through terror and violence other black political movements. Exactly right. That's correct. That is correct. Rugby tonight. Yeah, okay, Moonchild. I've run through that. So I've got 5 matches. I'm going to have to call them all up here. I got tonight, I've got 2. One's tomorrow for you guys, but it's tonight for me. So let me get over here and look at this. Hang on a second here. Where is my... What the heck? I'm looking for it in all these folders in the wrong place now. There we go. Okay, Rugby Broadcast Banners. So I've got Edinburgh versus Leinster, which is in an hour and a half on Rugby Ascendant. That's my initial game for the season. We've got Edinburgh Cian Healy setting a mark for most appearances for Leinster, if I'm not mistaken. Edinburgh is at home, so we got that coming up. Then after that, I've got the USA Samoa, 3 o'clock in the morning for me. That's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for South Africans in the bronze medal game for the Pacific Nations Cup from Osaka, Japan at Hanzano Stadium, a stadium I've been to. So that's coming up at 3 a.m., so I have to get to bed early tonight so I can get some rest. Then tomorrow, we've got Munster versus Connacht. The Lions and Sharks Currie Cup final. Lions and Sharks Currie Cup final. My banners are out of order. They're usually in sequence here for the time, but I made them at different times. So first it's Edinburgh Leinster today, this evening for South Africans. Tomorrow it's USA versus Samoa. Early morning for me, early morning for you guys. Then it's the Lions versus Sharks in the Currie Cup final. After that, it's Munster versus Connacht. And then later in the day, it's Argentina versus South Africa. That game is at 10 p.m. South Africa time. 10 p.m. South Africa time tomorrow night. Argentina versus the Springboks. So those are the 5 games I'm covering on Rugby Ascendant this weekend. And I hope you guys can join me. It'd be cool. My election prediction is still the same. I'm settled on Senate and presidency, but Congress is still a tricky call. Sierra, I think you said Kamala Harris is going to win. I didn't hear what you had to say. Business, I did hear about something like that. Thank you anyway. Cabell, I'm not sure what you heard on business. Was it when I was on business or someone else? Anyway, outside of government and the some unions, you can be fired for any reason in the U.S. Yeah, well, it's a right to work state here. So we can fire anybody for cause at any time. Now, if you fire someone because of their sexual orientation or because of their race or because of their religion, then there's a cause for unlawful termination. You can't do that. For instance, I had people complaining about someone that worked at the VFW club, and ultimately it was pretty obvious the termination was they didn't like their sexual orientation. And if we fired that person for that reason, we'd have a lawsuit for wrongful termination. You can't fire someone for that. But you can fire someone for not getting the job done. You can fire someone for not showing up for work, which has happened there. And the person complains, it's not fair. You fired me. Well, you didn't show up for work. You left us in a lurch. Fired someone else because they didn't show up for work. They just abandoned work. And they were a manager. Got fired for it. They complained about it. Run around town and talk down the place. Oh, those people are criminals or thieves or stealing stuff from the place. No, you didn't show up for work. And we had to open. You left us hanging. You're gone. Good riddance. And these people, what I don't get is people must be psychopaths to lie to your face in a malicious fashion. Look, when you're a negotiator and you're negotiating for something, it's understandable that you mislead or lie in negotiation to achieve something, as long as what you're trying to achieve isn't wrong morally. But I'm dealing with people who will stand there and act like they like you and know you and care about you and like they're doing something, and then out the back door, they're spreading malicious rumors, lies, and lying about you. It's how people can do that. I mean, I could never do that. It's just, no. Dismissal in South Africa needs to be procedurally and substantially fair. Same in the U.S. Earl says, enough, dismiss it now. That's right. Stop talking about it. All right. Or if you fire them for having a disability, exactly. You can't fire someone for that unless that disability prevents them from working. If they acquire disability and they can no longer perform the task they were hired for, then you can fire them. It's heartless, but you can do it. Yep. You can't fire a man for wearing a dress to work. You can, Chris, if they work for UPS and their uniform is brown shirt and brown trousers. You certainly can. Yeah, you really need to be bad at your job in South Africa to be fired. And then Charles just said exactly what I said, unless it's against company policy. Enough. Let's move on. Historic rugby championship opportunity here. The Springboks setting all kinds of records. Just one loss from their test this summer. Looking pretty good. The championship title is in sight. If they win tomorrow night in Argentina, they will be the rugby championship champions for the first time in the double game format. They did win in 2019, but it was a shortened rugby championship with just one game against each team. This time it's the normal 2. And it'll be the first time they won that since it became the rugby championship. After winning the 2019 and 2023 World Cup and claiming a 2-1 series win against the British and Irish Lions, what remained to win was the Freedom Cup and a full version of the rugby championship. Another aspect was to lift their winning percentage to around 80%, and they're currently at 88% this season. Not bad. The Bucks have got to get it done there. They've won 7 of 8 tests this year, collected the Nelson Mandela Plate for beating Australia twice, the Freedom Cup for beating the All Blacks twice. And it's the first time since 2009 that they claimed the Freedom Cup. This weekend they have a chance to win the rugby championship for the first time in its full double round format. There you go. So if they avoid defeat in Santiago, then they will be setting new records. All right, folks, let's shift our attention to something that's going on here. Gate McKenzie made a comment during the Olympics when the surprise javelin silver medalist Joanne van Dijk won a medal for South Africa. Shocked everybody. This was the story run on August 11th. Joanne van Dijk achieved Team South Africa's 6th Olympic medal at the Stade de France without much support from official structures back home, relying instead on much-needed help from her parents. Originally from Western Cape, she had to dig deep to continue competing and finishing her studies at Potchefstroom, where she now lives. So very difficult, the 26-year-old said. She's a qualified dietitian. Said, I think especially after I finished with my studies, I've been supported by my parents because they also believed in me and they were believed in the passion that I have. It's quite difficult. It's difficult when everybody else is moving on with their lives and earning salaries, and I'm just here just trying and still trying. She said she didn't want to quit the sport without giving her best. Now, that's Joanne van Dijk, the silver medalist in the javelin. Impressive accomplishment. But Gate McKenzie said that the government would reimburse her family for the expenses for the Olympics, and he lied. Gate McKenzie clarifies he will not refund Olympics winner Van Dijk due to miscommunication. Sports, Arts, and Culture Minister Gate McKenzie has blamed miscommunication after backtracking on his public promise to reimburse Olympic silver medalist Joanne van Dijk. Van Dijk, who won the silver medal, was disclosed that she had relied mostly on her own funding and her parents for financial support. McKenzie then vowed to reimburse the family for those costs. That plan, however, has not come to fruition. This was disclosed by the minister in reply to a question in Parliament by DA MP Liam Jacobs. The family of Van Dijk has not been reimbursed after the 2024 Paris Olympics. There have been further engagements with the parties, and emerged there was miscommunication on this matter. All athletes who participate in Olympics receive support from federations during the qualification period. McKenzie, though, did acknowledge that Van Dijk was not included in the South African Olympic Committee's Bidvest Operation Excellence program, which offered support to selected athletes in their Olympic preparations. And this is just quite, frankly, disgusting and mealy-mouthed. You should never have made the commitment. First off, I don't think government should be paying for this. But here's some good news for Joanne van Dijk. She's about to get married. Congratulations to the 26-year-old. You can see people toasting here. Here's her Facebook page. On January 24th, 2024, God gave me a promise that he will turn my tears to sadness into tears of joy and victory. Sharing a very special moment between me and Johan, my safe haven and my biggest supporter. Thank you for believing me, even when I didn't believe myself. I love you, and I can't wait to marry you. There she is. And congratulations to Johan and to Joanne. And here they are at their wedding announcement site. It's October 5th, folks, just around the corner. She'll be off the market. If you're looking for a javelin tosser, she's off the market. Yep. Friday, October 4th, 2024, they've got an event going on, and their marriage is on the 5th. Congratulations to her. I have reached out to Joanne van Dijk through her Facebook page and offered to start a Back a Buddy campaign to raise the funds to reimburse her family because the cowardly government of South Africa has openly stated they would reimburse her and now has backed out. So I hope she responds to me. I don't know if she knows who I am, but I'm willing to use that wuss site, Back a Buddy, because it's the best way to get funds to someone in South Africa by raising them. So if she gives me the go-ahead, I will start a Back a Buddy campaign, and we will raise money for her family and for her to reimburse her for her incredible Olympic performance. Yep, this is what happens when governments decide who to support, not support. The best athlete they had, they didn't support. But they gave money to everybody else. People didn't even get medals, didn't even finish their races and their competition. But she got nothing. And then they promised to give her something in the media heat of the moment. Oh, Gate McKenzie, we're going to reimburse her. We're going to reimburse her. You're a liar, Gate McKenzie. You're a liar. There, I said it. Yeah, it's true. You should never have said it. You should never have said it. It was inappropriate. And I said so at the time. I have empathy for Joanne van Dijk and for the athletes, but government shouldn't be paying athletes. Government shouldn't be paying their expenses. The taxpayers shouldn't be responsible for someone participating in sports. I don't care if they represent your country. We should not be paying to represent the Springboks unless you go to a game or you buy a jersey. That's how you support them. Or you pay for a TV subscription service, which does ad revenue, which feeds back to the club. That's how you do it. Government taxpayers don't pay for sports. That's nonsense. But he made a promise to get attention, and that's morally bankrupt. Are you listening, Gate McKenzie? I know you listen to Morning Shot, but you don't listen to my program. It's a shame. Now, I don't have a beef with Gate McKenzie, and I'm not one of these people tax him. I certainly run around calling me a criminal and all this other nonsense. But Gate McKenzie, you got a lot of money out of your pocket. Why don't you just pay the expenses out of your pocket? You want to look at a good guy, that's what you should have done. You should have come back and said, we're unable to do it because of the structures. It's not legal to do that. However, this athlete's amazing. And as a sports minister, I have the resources to pay her out of pocket. I'm paying her family's expenses. You should do that, Gate McKenzie. instead of saying, well, it was miscommunication. Do you know how weak and how dishonest that makes you look? Unbelievable. Michael says, thanks for all you do for South Africa. And Ravani says, I hope she has many kids. And Pablo wants Gate for president. Well, the guy just, welched on paying back. Disappointing Gate McKenzie. I expected more. I thought he would stick to his word. So did I. How does the U.S. Olympic team athletes manage to get Olympics? Charles Van Onselen, sponsored by corporations, by shoe companies, by Nike, by others, by corporate donors. The U.S. Olympic Committee gets tons of money. Let me see. U.S. USOLYM Committee, FU ending sources. Okay. Let's see who they got from this year. Grants and funding. Okay. So they had a goal of raising $500 million, by the way. Okay. Well, this is money that they give out, so I'm looking where they're getting their funding. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation, a philanthropic arm of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, is embarking on its most ambitious fundraising journey ever with a goal of raising $500 million. Yep. That was their goal this year. It doesn't state who their donors are, but I can find it with a little bit of research. Yeah, so they're not state funded. They may get grants from on occasion, but they're not state funded. Anyway, so there you go. Cape Town may put a temporary roof over the DHL Greenpoint Stadium at a cost of 30 million rand just to get a UFC event at the stadium. Wow. Woo. City of Cape Town is considering adding a 30 million temporary roof to the DHL Stadium in a bid to host the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That's crazy. 30 million rand. Why do they need a roof? I guess because it's at night. Well, chicken's coming home in a roost after a warrant and a court appearance. He failed to appear. One of Robert Gabriel Mugabe's scumbag little sons is now wanted criminal. A warrant of arrest has been issued for former President Robert Mugabe's son, Chatunga. Well, just that name, he ought to be arrested. A court in Zimbabwe has issued a warrant for the arrest of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe's youngest son, Belarm Chatunga Mugabe, after the 27-year-old failed to attend court. Look at that, Range Rover. Spoiled little brat. He was due in court for a routine remand hearing following his arrest 2 weeks ago on charge of disorderly conduct. Allegations are that on August 31st, the accused person's vehicle, which was being driven by a South African national, was stopped at the Buie security roadblock in Beitbridge. The driver was asked to produce his passport, vehicle registration. South African national was identified in media reports as Irvin Molokoza. The Zimbabwe authorities said before the driver could comply, Chatunga allegedly handed his passport to the police officer. The police officer ordered the driver to park the vehicle. It's alleged the accused person complained after the police officer requested the driver park the vehicle. He allegedly disembarked from the vehicle and charged towards the police officer, shouting, "What are you doing? You are delaying me for my 4th time. I'm rushing to a wedding in Harare. Check my passport. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am?" Yeah, you're a butt wipe. Well, folks, climate change. Climate change. Oh, that's a hard one to swallow. Climate change, yes. Well, everyone will lose in climate change. The oceans will rise. The glaciers will melt. The Arctic ice caps will disappear. The planet will heat up. We'll become Venus. Nowhere will be livable. Except, even if climate does change, that's a lie. Some places will become more habitable. Some places less habitable. That's just the nature of how things work. We're not going to be Venus. Not until the Earth swells up to a red giant and we're consumed in billions of years from now. But parts of the Sahel and Sahara are turning green. Year-over-year difference in a 16-day average of vegetation ending September 14th. Look at that. Look at that, folks. The dark green is a lot more green in the Sahel and reaching up into the Sahara. Look at Mali. Over half of Mali is green now. Niger. Half of Niger is green. Half of Chad is green. Over half of Sudan. And even 1/3 of Mauritania. Can you believe it? All these places have green grass. Green grass. Look at that, man. Wow. Look at that. Climate change. Run for the hills. Wow. More vegetation, more available water, more arable land, more places suitable for living, for grazing. Oh, no. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. This story in the Washington Post, of all places, the lead climate zealots tell this story. Jonah says the U.S. Olympic Committee is entirely funded through the generosity of the American public and support of many commercial partners. There you go. That's what I was saying. Was that not the son who was in RSA? Yes, that's correct. Both of he and his brother were there. They trashed the place. Rhodesia is a beautiful country, says Ravani. Maybe a president of Zimbabwe would change the name back to Rhodesia and install it to monarchy with King Charles. I don't know about that. Tom Nelson. Who is Tom Nelson? Humanity is too inconsequential to affect planet Earth. What kind of name is Harare? They can't city brand for days. Well, Salisbury was kind of, it sounds like a meal, Salisbury steak. Well, an exclusive interview by the Voice of America with a leading officer in the U.S. Africa Command. And he basically says that Chad is talking about having us come back. On Sunday, U.S. Africa Command's Major General Kenneth Ekman, one of the last 2 U.S. service members to leave Niger following the coup agreement, was interviewed by the Voice of America. And they talked about the footprint, lots of things in this story. But in it, they talk about Chad. Yep. Anyway, interesting interview. But in it says that Chad wanted, because they had things going on, and asked us to reduce our presence. We did, because we're partners. And now they've come back and said, okay, the events are over. We'd like you to come back. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, sleepy, creepy Joe Biden is coming to Africa. Ooh, Joe Biden's coming to Africa. Can you believe it? Joe Biden's coming to Africa. Who cares? He's going to Angola. Why? Lord knows. So he can put on his CV. He went to Africa. Joe Biden's one Africa trip will be to Angola. Wow, look at that. U.S. President Joe Biden has chosen Angola as the one African country he will visit while in office, the first such visit since Barack Obama's administration. Angola owes China a lot of money, but its president skipped China's recent meeting with African countries. U.S. seeks to export minerals via Angola, while China hopes to establish a naval base there. So Joe Biden's going to go there. I wonder what payoff he's going to get. Well, Israel has struck Beirut. Strike marks the first time Israel has hit the Lebanese capital since July, when it killed a Hezbollah commander. At least 3 people were killed and 17 injured, according to Lebanon's health ministry. Lebanese news networks broadcast images of what appeared to be damage from Israeli strikes, showing a level building in the Beirut suburb, a sprawling neighborhood where Hezbollah holds sway. Whoops, things are just getting hotter. Sri Lanka has an election this year. It's coming up very soon, this weekend, in fact. Economic issues at the top of the agenda as 22 million people head to the polls to pick their 10th president. Sri Lankans go to vote tomorrow to elect the South Asian nation's 10th president. Months of food and fuel shortages have caused political chaos, forcing then-President Rajapaksa to flee the country in July of 2022. So 17 million people out of Sri Lanka's 22 million population are eligible to vote. They have an electoral commission of Sri Lanka that will oversee this. Voters rank up to 3 candidates in order of their preference on the ballot paper. So it's a weighted system, which is odd, but some countries have that. Well, China's economy, as I have told you endlessly, is in the tank. It's slumping, and even the Washington Post, an apologist for China, actually admits it now. Chinese economy is faltering, and that means more trade tensions. Growth in the world's second largest economy is slowing, and stock markets are in decline, but the Chinese government is reluctant to do anything about it. It's been a grim month for the Chinese economy. A slew of recent data revealed the world's second largest economy is slowing faster than expected, causing analysts to predict that it will miss the already modest 5% growth target this year. Chinese officials appear reluctant to take action to reinvigorate the economy with the kinds of huge stimulus packages they used after the 2008 global financial crisis, mostly because it put them in a lot of debt. Mohammed Al-Fayed and Harrods. Attorneys for 37 women say they would sue Harrods, the luxury department store, over rape and sexual assault they say its former owner committed. Wow. That's pretty scary. Mr. Al-Fayed, who died last year at 94, was a billionaire who owned the iconic store from 1985 to 2010. We will say it plainly, Mohammed Al-Fayed was a monster, but he was a monster enabled by a system that pervaded Harrods. Able by unsafe systems at work, which Harrods established, maintained, certainly acquiesced to, and we say facilitated during his chairmanship. Harrods is now owned by the state of Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund. The company made the mistake of acknowledging that during his ownership, we failed our employees who were his victims, and for this we sincerely apologize. Well, that was a stupid mistake, so Harrods will be destroyed now by Me Too movement people seeking money who didn't have the courage to go tell someone that this was happening. And they accuse a man of these things after he's dead. This is tasteless. Well, this is also tasteless. The European Union will give $39 billion loan to Ukraine. Plans for a larger sum collapsed when Hungary blocked changes requested by Washington as the price for a joint initiative. There she is, the European bureaucrat herself, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission.
European Union's top officials said on a trip to Kyiv on Friday that Europe would offer Ukraine a 35 billion euro loan, backed by frozen Russian assets. European lenders said that the loan would move forward initially without contributions from the United States. Well, Ursula von der Leyen, busy destroying peace and freedom across Europe. Well, speaking of that, why is the European Union even involved in this? It's supposed to be an economic trading bloc, but it's become a usurper of state sovereignty. And here's another step. Europe has now created a defense commissar. The European Union has vowed to enhance its military capability with a new defense chief. Andrius Kubilius, former Prime Minister of Lithuania. Facing an aggressive Russia, a long war in Ukraine, and an uncertain American commitment to Europe, Ursula von der Leyen, as president, has created a new post of defense commissar. Wow. Defense commissar. So the European Union has a defense commissar. For what? Why? Just evil. Brazil is fining Elon Musk and X for skirting the ban. Brazil's Supreme Court accused Elon Musk of switching X's network provider to partially restore access to the platform in the country. Brazil's Supreme Court ordered Elon Musk to pay a fine of almost $1 million a day until he stops users from accessing the banned platform. The court also accused him of using a technical maneuver to try to outwit authorities after X switched network providers. X said it had no intention of skirting the ban. It said the social media platform was forced to swap network providers after it shut down its office and operations, resulting in inadvertent temporary service restoration to Brazilian users. $1 million a day. It's just the grift. U.S. officials admit that Joe Biden is incapable of ending the conflict in Gaza, which we knew all along. He's partly responsible for it. U.S. officials concede Gaza ceasefire out of reach for Biden. Yep, no breakthrough is going to happen. No, Sleepy Joe doesn't care about peace in Gaza, nor do his friends in Hezbollah. Or, not Hezbollah, that's, Hezbollah. Hamas, not Hezbollah, Hamas. Kamala Harris is spending that huge treasure chest she has on social media, inundating social media with adverts. In the week of their debate, Kamala Harris outspent Donald Trump 20-1 on Facebook and Instagram. Yep, both owned by Zuckerberg, who likes to interfere in elections. Vice President Harris outspent former President Trump 20-1 on Facebook and Instagram, capitalizing on the moment to plaster the battleground states with ads and to hunt for new donors. The lopsided spending, $12.2 million to $611,000 on Facebook, was hardly an outlier. Wow. That's the corrupt money in the political class going to Kamala Harris. Well, North Carolina gubernatorial candidate for the Republican Party is in hot water over things he posted online. Voice of America says they can't confirm this, but it is claimed by another source, CNN. North Carolina Republican gubernatorial nominee Mark Robinson vowed on Thursday to remain in the race despite a CNN report that he posted strongly worded racial and sexual comments on an online message board saying he won't be forced out by salacious tabloid lies. He's the sitting lieutenant governor. Yep. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in the story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character. Well, CNN report describes a series of racial and sexual comments that Robinson posted on the message board of a pornography website more than a decade ago. CNN reported that Robinson, who would be North Carolina's first black governor, attacked civil rights leader Martin Luther King in searing terms and once referred to himself as a black Nazi. CNN also reported that Robinson wrote of being aroused by a memory of peeping at a woman in a gym showers when he was 14 years old, along with an appreciation of transgender pornography. The Associated Press has not independently confirmed that Robinson wrote and posted the messages. CNN said that it matched the details of the account on the pornographic website forum with other online accounts that he holds, with comparing usernames and a known email address and his full name. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but people have stolen my username on a number of sites. They've used my username, which is unique. So, whatever. What is going on here? What is going on here in the chat here? What's the point of buying going to Angola? For money, Menage a Trois. Hey, welcome back. It's for money. I'm sure he's going there to grift for money from the oil oligarchs. My grandparents lived in Northern Rhodesia, says William. Okay. Like Zambia? Northern Rhodesia? Neither is Biden, which says apparently I'll believe anything, it seems. What is this? You reckon Peter Zion is right on China? Who is Peter Zion and what did he say? What are you guys doing here? Harris is genius of word sound. She is. CNN. Yep. They're fighting in chat. Yeah, they are fighting chat. Stop it off. Stop it. Knock it off right now. Or you're going to get put in a timeout. Former New York City COVID czar, who told us to stay home and sent police to arrest people for not being home, is a scumbag sexual pervert. In a hidden camera video posted by a conservative podcaster, Steven Crowder, Dr. J.K. Varma boasts about flouting the public health guidelines he insisted others follow. Look at that evil-looking face. The official in charge of New York City's pandemic response participated in sex parties and attended a dance party underneath a Wall Street bank during the height of the pandemic, even as he instructed New Yorkers to stay home and away from others to stop the spread of COVID. He acknowledged his transgressions Thursday after being caught on hidden camera boasting about his exploits. The video of the official, Dr. J. Varma, who was City Hall's senior public health advisor under Mayor Bill de Blasio from April 2020 to May 2021, was posted Thursday by conservative podcaster Steven Crowder. The video appears to have been compiled from several recordings in which Varma is seen in a number of restaurants and cafes chatting with a woman who remains off camera. At various points, he describes a sex party he and his wife held in a hotel and a dance party he attended in a space under a bank on Wall Street, joined by more than 200 people, while they were busy arresting and citing citizens for being on the street. Wow. Wow. In a statement, he did not dispute the recording's authenticity. He said they've been spliced, diced, and taken out of context. Taken out of context? Dude, how can you take out of context and you're boasting you went to a sex party? It may be put in edited and put in a fashion that is detrimental to you, that makes you look bad, it puts you in a bad light, but this is what you said. Okay, you admitted to violating a policy, so how is that taken out of context? I mean, if you went to a party that wasn't during those dates and it was put in there and they claim you went to a date during COVID and you didn't, then it would be taken out of context and it would be wrong. But you did these things. He says, I take responsibility for not using the best judgment. At the time, public officials in New York, like those in many cities and countries around the world, Albert von Tiddens, thank you for subscribing, were frantically seeking to contain the virus and COVID's rising death tolls. New York City schools were abruptly closed in March 2020. Indoor dining was forbidden in restaurants. Masking indoors in public places was mandatory. He didn't do this because he's a hypocrite, just like all the scumbags. And I guarantee you that most of those politicians who went on camera and got the jabs were getting saline. Guarantee it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, people get upset when they don't get consulted on electricity and what goes on in South Africa. Well, guess what? 3 Mile Island, which has been shut down for nearly 5 years now, a corrupt deal between Microsoft and Constellation Energy means that 3 Mile Island's number 2 reactor will be turned back on with its antiquated 70-year-old technology to produce electricity solely for Microsoft's artificial intelligence. So once again, Pennsylvanians bear the cost of external actors, once again, without consulting us. 3 Mile Island's nuclear plant reopened to help power Microsoft's AI centers. The 20-year deal with Constellation would kickstart the site of the nation's worst nuclear accident. A deal between Constellation Energy and Microsoft will restart Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island, the site of the country's worst nuclear accident, to help power the tech giant's growing artificial intelligence ambitions. Under the agreement, Constellation would revive the plant's undamaged reactor, which was too costly to run and closed in 2019, and sell the power exclusively to Microsoft. The plan signals a gargantuan amount of power needed for data centers for AI, along with the tech industry's thirst for carbon-free, round-the-clock electricity needed to meet climate goals. Constellation expects to spend $1.6 billion to restart the reactor by early 2028. Microsoft signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Constellation. The company said Friday the deal would help Microsoft pair its 24/7 electricity use with a matching source of nearby clean power generation. Well, there you go. They didn't consult us to turn on a dangerous nuclear power reactor on 3 Mile Island. Look at that. Look at that. Geopolitics expert. He thinks China is going to undergo a major collapse in the next decade. I don't know who he is. Thank you for that, William. I have also said that China is on the verge of collapse, a demographic collapse, a financial collapse, a geopolitical collapse. China's ascent will not continue. They would not pass the United States in their GDP. I stated that repeatedly. All these people said China surpasses by 2010, by 2015, by 2020, by 2022, by 2024. Here we are. 14 years later, and China still trails us economically. And even if they did surpass us in total GDP output, I said it's still not a legitimate basis. You have to look at per capita. China has 1.4 billion people, and they don't have anywhere near the per capita production that our country has, or Switzerland, or Dubai, or take your pick. So China will collapse. It has problems. The country has ecological problems. It has political problems. It has environmental problems. It has economic problems. It has a demographic problem because they're murdering of children, because they're one China policy or the one child policy, because the abortions of females, they're way out of whack. China is coming for a fall, and they're not prepared for it. And they're a totalitarian fascist state, and the people will rise up against them eventually. Apparently AI needs a lot more energy than the grid can support. Well, so does crypto. All right, Pablo Charlie, I warned you. One more comment, and you're getting a timeout from me. I don't have time to, sit here and address your fantasies, Pablo Charlie. I don't know what you're doing over there in the chat, but it seems to be all coming with you. Chill out, relax. Stop seeking attention. You attack people, and then you complain they attack you. Relax. Oh, man. 5 issues where flip-flop Kamala has changed her position to buy votes. She's backed away from some of her more liberal positions between her time in California Senate and her second presidential campaign. Medicare for all. Well, she was very progressive in 2017, and now she's more centrist. Fracking. Very progressive in 2019. Now she claims she's for fracking, but she's a liar. The Green New Deal. Very progressive, and now she's more centrist. Decriminalizing border crossings. Very progressive. Now she's still progressive, but not as bad. Zero emissions. She's kind of changed her position on that as well. So she's a flip-flopper. She lies. She lies. Thank you for calming down there. China is leading new green energy with their development. I don't see that happen. What's this? What did William say? Cabello, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Okay, let's just put it in perspective. China is leading the development of new green energy. That's nonsense. The latest innovation in solar panel technology is not coming from China. It's coming from Belgium, which will use water in solar panels and produce an arithmetically higher percentage of solar power from the same rays. That's coming from Belgium, not from China. China is building solar plants all over the place, but they have destroyed the solar panel market around the world by selling them at a loss and stealing market share. China has built huge solar plants and massive hydroelectric projects, but they build 350 coal-fired power plants every year. They've built 3,000 of these plants in the past decade. That's not clean. They're consuming more coal than they ever have. So I don't agree with your point there, Cabela. You're talking to an energy industry analyst, someone that actually covers China in the energy industry, someone who's actually been there and done that. I read my CV the other day about my speaking about these events in Denver twice in 2 different years. This is something I know about. Many countries that want to buy J-10 fighters from China have canceled acquisitions of low quality. Well, also the same with their Humvee ripoff. Those things, they sent them to Zimbabwe, and within 4 months, most of them were useless. They didn't work. It's impossible for China to be leading green energy. That makes zero sense. China is also caught painting dogs black and white, putting it in the zoo and telling people it's a panda. Yeah, exactly. I remember that. Why do we export coal to China if they're doing green energy? Exactly. They're the biggest consumer of South African coal. Richards Bay is the largest coal terminal in the world. Yep. Watch Serpent Zede if you want insight into China. Most of their claims are smoke and mirrors. I know who Serpent Zede is, but yeah, that's good advice to people, Michael, but I don't need to watch him. I know very well about China. China's been around for 5,000 years. They should be fine. Yeah, no one said they're going to disappear, but they're not the powerhouse. You can get so far with totalitarianism. The Soviets did it, but eventually there are only so many people's backs you can ride on, and you snap the spine. But I think she'll go back to her far leftist positions. Oh, yes, of course she will. Of course she will. Well, Caitlin Clark's first season finale in the WNBA results in a record crowd, the most attended WNBA game of all time, capping off a historic season. Her presence caused multiple teams to move their games to larger venues. The Washington Mystics used their scheduled season finale against the Indiana Fever to pull off a stunt that yielded record attendance despite being one of the worst teams in the league this year. With Caitlin Clark and the Fever finishing the season in D.C. on Thursday, the Mystics made the advantageous marketing decision of moving the game to a larger venue. They moved it to Capital One Arena. Well, I said it was Verizon, but it's Capital One now. Home of the NBA's Washington Wizards. Washington typically plays in the entertainment sports arena, which is located in Congress Heights in a dangerous neighborhood, a residential neighborhood in southeast Washington on the opposite side of the Anacostia River. It has a capacity of 4,200. But last night, 20,711 people showed up in D.C. I was going to be one of them. I'm glad I didn't make the journey because she barely played in the game. Well, Gavin Newsom signed an AI deepfake ban that could impact free speech. It's the first lawsuit against it. It's already out there. Yep, Christopher Coles, an online content creator known for his political satire, has filed a lawsuit against the state challenging recent legislation aimed at regulating AI-generated content. The lawsuit seeks to strike down 2 California laws which Coles claims infringe upon his First Amendment rights. The controversy began when Coles posted a satirical video parodying Vice President Kamala Harris, which quickly caught the attention of Governor Newsom. Following the video's viral spread, largely due to a share by Elon Musk, Gavin Newsom criticized the content, leading to the swift passage of AB 2655, the Defending Democracy from Deepfake Deception Act of 2024, and AB 2839 related to elections, deceptive media, and advertisements. Cole's lawsuit argues that these laws unjustly target political satire, a traditionally protected form of speech, by imposing strict regulations on AI-generated content. Political satire is a fundamental First Amendment right. Yeah, and California has gone too far. They will be overturned. Simple as that. There you go, folks. And that's the news for today. Where are we at? We're down to 90. You got 100 likes. Imagine 100 likes. Okay. William says, did I see your question on Schreiber? No, guys, I'm doing the news and trying to take your comments in here. Plus, I got people arguing back and forth. It's not very helpful. So your question was on Schreiber. You said the demographic crisis. You said China. I never saw your question. There's no question here on Schreiber. I was watching the young ones on Cliff this morning. Not sure what you're talking about. That video was hysterical. So why are we not talking more about loans with them? I would have thought cancer. Newsom was offended by Mr. Reagan's great parody video. Yeah. By the way, Pablo Charlie, thanks for chilling out. You are welcome here. I don't know. You take things out of context. I don't think you're a troll, but you take things out of context. And if someone tells you shouldn't be doing something or they question something, you're always acting defensive as if they're attacking you. I've defended you at times, and I'm defending you now. But just people. Also, I don't know why people are doing this. Stop this nonsense in the chat. If you don't agree with someone, don't attack them. It's the first act of so many people in the chat is they don't like something, they just start attacking somebody. Please stop doing that. There's no need for that. China won't ever make a profit from debt trapping Africa. They have no money anyway. Chinese are not perfect, but government did a good job the last 30 years compared to South Africa. Oh, yeah, Jonathan. No, well, that's a fair statement. Oh, yeah, that's a very fair statement. The Chinese, courtesy of their piracy, their trademark infringement, their copyright theft, their industrial espionage, their scales of economy, their slave labor, their protectionist economy, their violation of World Trade Organization rules, has done an amazing job increasing the size of gross domestic output. Absolutely. 100%. They are amazingly good at breaking the rules and violating the law. They're very good at that. Very good at that. And it's been very successful for them. But it only takes you so far. It only takes you so far. Pagers and walkie-talkies are going cheap. Only used once. Oh, my goodness. So let me just say something here very quickly. Newsom was offended by Mr. Reagan's. Yeah, no, Newsom is a whiny little biatch. But let me say something very quickly here. I don't think people appreciate how difficult it is to be a host, present the news, analyze the news, recall thousands of events, thousands of facts and figures, thousands of places, thousands of names simultaneously in this gray matter, actively engage with your audience, answering their questions, and then you miss comments. I don't see all the comments, particularly if you don't put at Chris Wyatt. It doesn't come up as orange on my screen. It doesn't ever come up as orange over here in the screen in front of me. I have to glance over here to the studio to do it. And I need this screen because the studio screen for what my show is this big, whereas over here it's this big. I can see much better. So please be patient and please don't argue with each other. There's no need to that. It's counterproductive. Cabela says you don't have to be mean. When was I mean? Have you seen this bizarre narrative emerging amongst... Okay, I think you saw it. I think I remember seeing this now, but I never read it. amongst Afro-nationalists on X that Leon Schreiber. Yeah, I did see. Oh, yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, I did. I think I commented on one of the tweets. I think I did. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. What is this whole thing with bringing people into the country? I don't know what that's all about. That story's been distorted from the moment it was reported on media, on IOL, I think it was reported. So surprise. But I don't know what's going on with that. So I think it's because he's doing a good job. He's cleaning things up. He's eliminating grift. He's eliminating the patronage, and people are stealing from the system. And he's reducing wait times to get documentation. He's doing this, he's doing that. But they're going after him, even within the government. I don't know why. Probably because he's effective. Yeah, but it's anti-Semitic is what it is. It's Jew hatred, and it needs to stop. But I did see it, William Funderbaum. I did see it. Charles says, sadly, it's a thing with Sapphists. We all tend to take comments personally. Please don't take it to heart. No, I don't, Charles, but then people leave. I mean, remember, we had so much bickering on this channel back in 2020, mostly because of the people from the eucalyptus tea drinkers who popped in here and with their penis envy, because my analysis was accurate, it was objective, it was insightful, it was informative, and it wasn't from South Africa. And a fake South African took offense to that and sent his little sycophants to attack me, or they did independently. Also, part of it was tied to extreme hatred of some of the people who left that channel and migrated here and to Ronaldo's channel, but mostly to my channel. People who were abusive towards Fiona, people were abusive towards Hendo, people were abusive towards Erica, who came here to this channel. All of them. And this is what I have to say about that very quickly, okay? The true people who are honest, good people, wonderful people who were following Scott Balson back in the day, who were mistreated on that channel. So let me clarify, because there's still good people over there, I'm sure, but who were mistreated by that channel and by the followers that left that channel, discovered my channel. Here we are nearly 5 years later. And guess what? Those people are still here. They're still with us. Hendo is still our top moderator. Erica, despite 2 strokes, continues to push on. Now got herself a little buggy to get around. She's gonna run over you in checkers. You be careful. She'll have a little cart and run into you. But Erica's still here pushing on. Fiona, despite poor health, pops in here. Yeah, it's because I don't mistreat people. Pablo Charlie, if you're still listening, you're welcome here. Don't take offense. I appreciate your input. I get your positions. But you get a little too over energetic sometimes. You keep coming back with this Republican thing, whatever you're calling it. You keep pushing it in the chat. I'm not spanking you for it. You haven't been banned for it. But I mean, we get your point. We know what your position is. Yeah. Garrett likes the shirt. Well, it's a Jonsson shirt, so I think it is. Yeah, Jonsson. There we go. Jonsson. Yep. Anyway. Oh, yeah, there are really good people in this channel, Charles. Yeah, there really are. Some really good people, some wonderful people. And I've suffered a lot because I treat people fairly. I mean, because I made Hendo a moderator, and because I made Eric a moderator, I got attacked by that Catherine lunatic and by others, and they tried to undermine my channel and undermine my WhatsApp groups and then spread rumors about me and lie about me. I mean, William says I was a moderator on the channel in 2020. I believe that was the case, William. Yep. Did you become a moderator and I shared with you the moderator rules? I can't remember if I did, because I created those pretty early on. I probably gave you those. Chris is mean and bad. Yes, you are, Chris, and sometimes you need to chill out. Sometimes you need to chill out. You get a little overexcited just like Pablo does. And Chris, I think you cannot deny that we've been very supportive of you and your personal situation. Also, with who you are, we appreciate the difficulty you've had in life, the things you've gone through, the challenges you faced, and we respect that. But you do get a little bit mean-spirited at times, so please clean that up. Yep. You just like cookies for your tea, says Hendo. Is Hendo here? Oh, there he is. Hendo's still here. Tough cookies. Yeah, exactly. Look, man. I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it right here. I mean, I'm confident in my sexuality. I love Hendo. I do. He's a good guy. Really good guy. Really good guy. Arctic shared my moderator, or got my, but he used him light as Bry, and there goes his moderator status. Yeah, Hendo's a good guy, man. And I knew that I was dealing with a rational person with Hendo when I first started dealing with the nonsense. Remember we had that guy Christian Paradago. Remember that guy? I can't remember the name of television actors, but I remember Christian Paradago username. Remember that guy came in here, was intentionally combative and came out and started soft and then upped and upped it. And I think Hendo spanked him, gave him a timeout or blocked him. And I removed it. I put him back here. I did that to the guy that was my first moderator, and his feelings were hurt, and he disappeared, and we've never seen him. That Green, what is his name? Green something. Let me see. I can't remember. Something Green. Oh, he had something green in his name. Anyway, it was user's name. Anyway, that guy, I'm nothing against him, but he jumped on his channel and became a first moderator or second moderator, and then his feelings were hurt because it's my channel. It's my content. It's my conversation. Well, it's your conversation, but it's on my channel. And I'm responsible for it to some degree. So when I overrode Hendo, he didn't take his toys and toss them out of the pram. Hendo's like, okay, it's Chris's channel. Okay, it's his call. It's his call. Well, William, are you back to stay with us? Are you going to be here? Or are you just passing through? I mean, are you just, are you in transit through London on your way to Toronto? Are you just in transit, or are you back to watch the channel? Moonchild is a moderator in Big Daddy Liberty, and you have to be on your game. Why? Why do you have to be on your game, Big Daddy Liberty? Well, if you give a balanced view of news these days, you'll get attacked by the clowns. It shows because the woke get triggered by anything. That's true, Patrick. That is absolutely true. Absolutely. And also people, when you do critical analysis, people take it as criticism of someone. Look, I by and large have not in the past criticized the DA. I've done critical analysis of them, which didn't reflect well on them because it's simply the facts. Simply the conclusions one reaches if you're intelligent, cogent, and lucid. If they don't like that, that's too bad. But I have been critical of them recently. And I will be critical of them when they have shortcomings. They have shortcomings. They are weak in this government of national unity, this coalition. They're underrepresented, and they have no portfolios with any real political power. They've been given things that are broken. Corrections is broken, so they gave it to Peter Groenewald. He'll fix it. Sports, they don't really care about, so they gave it to Gabe McKenzie. Agriculture's broken, but they took land reform out. It's not in there. Notice that? So they can't give that to the white guy. Can't give that to the Afrikaner, so we'll pull that out. Although John Steenhuisen, is he really an Afrikaner? It's just a name. Anyway, was Leovan here? I didn't see Leovan. Also haven't seen Marilyn, but Marilyn's probably here. She just probably can't type. Thomas Gosling says, thanks for all the updates. You're very welcome, Thomas. Opera, the name makes me think of a turd lawn. What's that? Yeah, being a mod is quite a job. It's not to be taken lightly. Yep. Garrett is a lesbian. I don't think so. Cabela says nice words. Okay. It's a special bromance minus the shush. Hendo. By the way, if you meet Hendo, he talks like me, like 100 miles an hour, man. Hendo talks 100 miles an hour. And he's got a great voice. Moonchild said, nah, it's just YouTube. Just trying to support the big, tall, old Yank. Yeah, minus Dwarvos. Mark says, we're all here to listen to a teacher, so the class might get a bit rowdy. Okay, that's fair, Mark. We can look at it that way. And says Hendo is a star. He is. Cheech and Chong's up in smoke. Can't remember, to be honest, okay? I still don't see Leoman. Somebody's saying, oh, there she is. Okay, you just like Hendo because he says it as it is and less hair than you. That's right. Hendo doesn't mess around. That's why I like him. Oh, I like his tan too, man. Hendo's got a nice natural tan. Yeah. All right. What was else going here? Chris, what happened to Matt Dixon? Matthew Dixon's around, Jan. By the way, what was Pablo Charlie upset about you? What did you do? Did you do something today, Jan? You were rude the other day. I'm going to call you out. You were rude the other day when we had, was it Neil or was it, or when I had Herman? I don't remember. Dirk Herman. But you were rude the other day. But Jan, did you say something today that set Pablo Charlie off because he mentioned you specifically? And I didn't see it in the chat. Most honest, best pod, South Africa, world politics, history, and expertly done. Thanks for You're welcome, Errol. I just wish we had hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It'd be really nice. I mean, could you imagine if I was actually making money off the advertising on this channel like I used to? I wouldn't have had to worry about paying for a plane ticket. I'd be in South Africa this weekend. I would be there this weekend. Don't forget the women's 15 starts. I think it's this weekend. I got to double check. Let me check on that. Women's 15, and it's in Cape Town at Athlon Stadium and at DHL Greenpoint Stadium. Women's 15. Oh, that's the wrong letter there. XV. There we go. Women's X15, South Africa. Official website. There we go. Okay, women's 15, Power Women's Rugby. Okay, get that out of the way. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. It's the 29th. It's not this weekend. 29th, not this weekend. All right. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I would have gone there next week, not this weekend. I would have gone to South Africa next week to cover the women's 15 and also be in Nelspruit for the Springboks Argentina test. But I got to be honest, the last time my plane ticket, I can't afford that. $3,100, over 60,000 Rand for a ticket. That was crazy. Remember, I was late purchase because I didn't get my passport till the very end, but I did it because the elections were that important. I spent 60,000 Rand, and I got little hate wankers attacking me from down under and other places. You know, oh, what's this guy's agenda? Who's financing him? Who's behind him? Well, my credit card's behind me to the tune of 60,000 plus Rand just for the plane ticket last time. Yep. So I can't just pop on a plane and do it any time. Charles says, I'm in English van Onselen. Spoke Afrikaans before English, but live in KZN most of my life. Levin says, was Arctic not part of the Podbean chat when Hendo called in? Oh, yeah, that was fun. We need to do that again. We need to do the Podbean stuff and have people call in. There's a limited number of people who call in, but it's kind of funny. Even 1 million subscriber channels are not making money from advertising anymore. Yeah, that's true, Arctic. But I'm not talking about making a living. I'm talking about making enough money to cover my expenses. I'm going to have to buy a new gaming machine. This one, I'm going to have to replace it at some point. I'm already starting thinking about that. It's already 3 years old. It's over 3 years. I turned this thing on in February 2021, and I financed this machine mostly through advertising from YouTube. I had to pay some out of pocket because it was, all of it came out of my pocket, but some from other of my income because I had to pay taxes on that income. But yeah, this machine was expensive and it's already 3.5 years old. I'm going to have to replace it probably in the next year. And I think I'm going to get a larger screen and I'm going to do some more bells and whistles on the next one. So yeah, that'll be coming up. It seems that people easily forget you are a complete volunteer and not backed by corporate interests. Yeah, exactly, Menage a Trois. That's right. People forget that. And I don't sit around e-bagging. We joke with it occasionally, but if people can give, that's great. If they can't give, that's fine. I get that. I'm not. I always tell people don't give if you don't have it, and there's no harm, no foul. If no one ever gives me a super chat, my feelings aren't hurt. It doesn't mean I'll stop. It doesn't mean I won't continue on. But yeah, it's just the reality here. But I mean, if you do have money, there's PayPal. If you're one of those rich mining magnates, there you go. Yeah, it's $3,000 for a decent machine. That's correct, article. This one was, I think, $2,800 or $20. But I paid something on it. I forget what I did, so that I got it. I got a few $100 discount on it, and it came in at like $2,600. So almost as much as my plane ticket. Oh, in case you missed it, that was the PayPal. Yeah, people do forget I'm completely volunteer, and also the amount of time that goes into this. I mean, I was up after midnight last night, went to bed at 2, fell asleep after 3 o'clock, got up at 6:30, and started doing research for today and prepping for today's rugby with Leinster. Yeah, and people do forget that, and it's fine. They don't have to remember that. I don't do it for fame or glory. That would be nice to have the money so I could just do what I wanted, but no, it's I'm trying to do the right thing here. So, yep. Stupid Lotto is not cooperating. Well, yeah. How do I highlight a person's name to reply? You put the @ symbol. So, actually, you just start type. You should just be able to start typing it. So I put @ HEN. Yeah, put the @ symbol. If you put the @ symbol, Garrett, then you highlight someone. Remember, you were anting your car after returning from Donald Trump rally. Oh yeah, William, that was epic. That video is still on the channel. The original channel was never deleted. That video is on there. It was never deleted. It was never given a strike either because they had nothing to go. That's right. I came from the rally in D.C. Covering it as a journalist on my way back, and the lies were being spread by the media already. I pulled over at a Costco to refuel in Frederick County, Maryland, which is halfway back to where I live. And I did a live stream right there because Ronaldo had contacted me. A couple other people contacted me and said, hey, are you okay? I'm like, what do you mean okay? There's a riot at the Capitol building. I'm like, what? So, and then they were already lying about what's going on. So, yeah, I remember that, William. Yeah. Where have you been? You didn't answer that question. Works better and easier from PC, from a phone or a tablet. Doesn't pull the name up when you put it on the side. Oh, gotcha, Levin. Gotcha. Well, PC it does that. So, yeah, moderators are volunteers as well. It takes a lot of effort, work in the background, mods. The censorship makes it harder. Yeah, no, you're right, Hendo. The moderators are volunteers, and they don't get paid for this. The best. I mean, I've given some merch to Hendo, and I've given some merch to Erica, but beyond that, not really much I've been able to do for my moderators, and they're fantastic. Cape Town has become too busy for me. It's becoming like Joe. Yeah, it is, William. It's just insane. The traffic, the development, and it's just going north. It's working its way toward Eiserfontein. You're going to laugh at me when I say that, but you watch. At the rate things are going the Western Cape, they're going to be development all the way up that coast, except around Coburg. It's going to be everything. Jan says, Chris, Vietnam, the lucky, what's that? That got to USA in 75, April 77. They see Ho Chi Minh on USA TV and bar. The reaction is the same for many. From seeing Neil DeBeer talking, we are triggering seconds. Okay, I got you on. I got you. Okay, I appreciate that. And you did calm down when I asked you to do it. I appreciate it, and that's what I said. Look, I mean, so here's the thing. When in February, March of last year, when I did that trip, my Highveld tour to South Africa in 2023, my second trip to South Africa, we did the second event with the Sightlanders. That event was in Pretoria East. And at that event, before I got there, I had been in the Western Cape and I had interviewed Neil DeBeer, who got me into a meeting with Musi Maimane, with a couple of people that are Rand billionaires and 100 million or centimillionaires in dollars, very powerful, influential people that have business wealth that were in that room, and also some other people in that room, including Fidel Adams and some other folks, which I'm not going to disclose. But I got in that meeting. I was the only journalist there. And I was there because Neil DeBeer got me in there because I treated Neil DeBeer fair. So he invited me to come to it. It was an incredible event, incredible experience. And afterwards, I interviewed Neil DeBeer outside. A lot of people in the Sightlander Civil Defense Group and Sightlanders were pissed off at me. They felt like I was some kind of betrayer. What am I a betrayer of? I'm not a Sightlander. I have affinity for what you're doing. I respect what you're doing. I treat it fairly. I report on it. And I have a good relationship with many Sightlanders. But I'm not a Sightlander. So what have I betrayed? I'm reporting. I'm exposing. There are people who want to hear what Neil DeBeer had to say. He was rising of interest at that time. So I covered him. When I went to Pretoria East, by that time the grumbling had gotten quite vocal by some members. Venant de Toit got up in Afrikaans and in English, to make sure that I got to hear it too, although I understood much of the Afrikaans, and basically told people to knock it off. He basically said, I've been hearing grumblings and people that are unhappy with Chris. They don't like the fact that he talks to Neil DeBeer. But Chris is a journalist now. He's not in the Army anymore. He's a journalist. And he's covering events that are newsworthy. So knock it off. Show him his respect. Show him respect. Anyway, so it was pretty cool. And people need to do that. Look, I interview people. I mean, look, I have a good relationship with Bantu Holomisa. Every time I've asked him to come on the program, he's come on. I think he's a very decent human being. I completely disagree with some of his political positions, and I've actually told him that in private. But that's his positions. I'm not trying to tell him, take it on the arches, fotsec. I'm just saying that, I don't think this is wise for your party. But that's what professionals do. They have a conversation like that. They interact. They don't take their toys, toss them out of the pram, and leave. So if I interview people that you don't like, this isn't to Jan, this is to everybody. If I interview people you don't like, then don't watch it. If I interview people that I do appreciate you watching it to give me hours and give me likes like that, but I mean, be fair. I've made a commitment that I'm not interviewing the EFF. I'm never interviewing the EFF. Maybe if they came to me and asked, I'd consider it, but I'm not ever seeking to interview them. And I've tried to interview the ANC, but they have no interest. They're hidebound. They only talk to who they want to talk to, and they're corrupt, captured, bought and paid for South African legacy media. They won't talk to the rest of us. So, yeah. They even still around. No, the Sightlanders Civil Defense still exists, Arctic. There's a Sightlanders group. I don't know what's going on with that. But the Sightlanders Civil Defense group, sure, it still exists. Yep. Cape Town compared to Joburg is paradise. I just miss all the wonderful people in Joburg. Sadly, it's turned into such a crap hole. It's crazy. Yeah, Joburg is such a problem. I do like George as an option, as Johannesburg tired me out. Yeah, no, George is a good option. I'll go with you, Debbie. Neisner is a good option, too. Neisner. George, Neisner, good options. Mossel Bay. Mossel Bay is not the best option because it's really just a single road town, and it's difficult. But, yeah, it's kind of a single road town, so that's a challenge. But yeah, that part of the garden route is lovely. Hermanus, nice, but I'm not so sure it's the best. Why has Morning Shot disappeared for a week already? Oh, really? Hang on a second. Just send a message to Byron and ask him, did he actually stop Morning Shot? That's news to me. Wow, thanks you, Hano Fisachi. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. That's news. I've been in touch with Byron this week. I sent him a link to a news article, and he responded, but no one's mentioned to me that they weren't doing it. I'm not always agree with everyone you've interviewed, but have often learned something, even if I don't agree. Yeah, exactly, Liv, and that's the whole purpose. So if you don't like Neil DeBeer, and that's anybody here, if you don't like him, there are things you can learn. Like him or love him, because of his experience in the environment that we're in, he has access to people. So there you go. Okay. He has a post up apologizing for no content. Check their page out. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't see that. All right. Well, folks, I'm going to have to end this stream, which has gone for 2 hours, because I've got to get ready for the rugby, which is in 30 minutes. Oh, he's attending family business, Liebrand. Liebrand. Whoa, that's very German. Thank you for joining us. All right. Yeah, so thanks a lot. I hope this was interesting and informative. I appreciate you being here. God bless. Have a good Friday. Don't forget, we got 5 rugby matches coming up. First one is in 27 minutes. I'll start with Edinburgh hosting Leinster. That gets the URC season started. Then at 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, 9 a.m. in South Africa, 8 a.m. in the UK, it's USA versus Samoa in the bronze medal game of Pacific Nations Cup. And then it's on to the Currie Cup final at Ellis Park. Lions hosting the Sharks. I'll be covering that game on Rugby Ascendant. After that, it's on to Munster and Connacht. I'll be covering that game. And then a few hours after that, it's South Africa at 5 p.m. local time here. 11 p.m. Did I say it's 11 p.m. South Africa? I think it said 10 on the banner. I think it's 11 o'clock in South Africa. 6 hours later. I must have put on the banner wrong. 6 hours later is 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock South Africa time. It's the Pumas hosting the Springboks. 5 games this weekend. So tomorrow probably won't do news, but we'll do it on Sunday most likely. All right, folks. Take care. God bless. All right. Cheers. Thanks for being here. And it's been awesome. Direct link to the rugby, Chris. Oh, you want me? I don't have that. To go get it, just like everybody else. Oh, by the way, look what's on YouTube now. Check this out. Hopefully, I won't get a copyright strike for this because I'm showing it. But look what's on YouTube now.
Starbucks Frappuccino drinks, like a comforting hug from your Nana.
Hopefully they won't come after me for a 6-second ad. I'm promoting Starbucks drinks. That's on there now. That's so funny. That is so funny. That is so funny. Wow. That's incredible. Hang on a second. Rugby set. Come on. All right, Rugby Ascendant. Okay. Oh, come on. Live. Okay. Here's the Edinburgh one. Oh, you got it now. See, it's quicker for you. I was showing the Starbucks ad. There it is. That's the link. So if anybody wants to get to it. It's not direct from here, but probably should have done that. There you go. So that'll take you there. All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. All right. Your hug from your Nana. All right. See you guys on Rugby Ascendant, hopefully. Cheers. Be safe out there. God bless and take care. Always a pleasure. I got to close this, log into a different account, all kinds of crap I got to do just to get ready for the game. So we'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.